Well, what do we have here? It's 10 a.m. Eastern. It's Best Ball Breakfast. But on a Wednesday, your eyes do not deceive you. For the rest of August, until the season starts, we're gonna be spinning up an additional Best Ball Breakfast in today and for the rest of August, kicking things off. None other than the So You Think You Can Tout champ Alex Cups. We're going to draft today. Some days we're going to be talking data, all of that good stuff. I'll be doing a solo draft immediately following Cups around 10:45, and then two more special guests today. Cooterdoodle from FantasyLife, always terrific drafting with her, and then batting cleanup, Ben Gretch. You know him from Stealing Signals, Stealing Bananas, all of that good stuff. It's Wednesdays. It's August. Let's draft.
Welcome to Hot Best Ball Summer. You slurp that suspension dipperino, honey?
Easy to click on Rashad White when it's all site credits.
Exodia.
Put the puppy in the bag, bro. I'm trying to grow the goddamn game.
The game is beatable, folks.
Slap King Summer, bitches.
7,000 hours of commercial-free best ball drafts starts now.
All right, there he is, the So You Think You Can Tout champ here with us. And before we get to the introductions, I want to let people know, I just tipped you guys off in the Discord. We're going to be drafting. I'm sure we'll do some BBMs on Wednesdays, but I am so ahead of pace, especially with adding these shows, that I just hopped into Pitbull here. So if you guys want to do the Pitbull with us, this is a $20 10 entry max contest. We still have $100,000 up top, but I got to pace myself with these BBMs. But with that now being said, Alex Cups, welcome to the show. How you feeling? It's been a big week.
Man, I'm feeling unbelievable, Pete. It's been an all-time week. Let's just say that. This is a top 5 week in my life, and it ain't 5. It's been special. It's been crazy to see all the support on Twitter and YouTube and all the above, obviously. So big shout out to you again for putting on just an unbelievable show. Big shout out to Lou, who I see in the chat, the whole editing team as well. Just absolutely killed it with So You Think You Can Tout. So yeah, it's been electric, and I'm looking forward to these weekly Wednesday kickoff shows.
Well, you know how I know you won the competition and how you're officially a tout? You just drew the influencer 101 right off the rip. That's how you know it's not winning So You Think You Can Tout. It's not getting the gig at FantasyLife. It's getting an on-stream 101 right off the rip.
I love it, man. No, I actually pulled the 101 as well in my my stream that I did, just impromptu stream on Monday after the announcement, and pulled the influencer 101 in that one as well. So this is gonna be Jahmyr Gibbs for me at the 101 over Bijan. I'm not letting the $75 million deal Bijan money swing him up the board for me. It's always going to be Jahmyr Gibbs here.
Yes. And you know what? I appreciate that too, because I'll update my exposures here, but even seeing it was 1.3% Gibbs across all of my drafts, not because I'm fading him. I've been taking Gibbs 101. I have just not been as much of an influencer as I'd hoped. So I'm going to sync my exposures here. I'm going to go check just to be safe. But yeah, Gibbs. So 6.5% across everything. I think it's only 1.3% in maybe BBM is how I had that filtered. So we'll keep boosting those Gibbs numbers here.
And you've been Gibbs 101 the whole offseason, and you have 1.3%. Wow.
Isn't that cruel?
That is cruel. That's a tough draw.
So, everybody is of course wondering, you get the $3,750 in site credits. Can you confirm, have they hit the account? That was not a rug pull?
No, it's not a rug pull. I opened the account after I saw your tweet yesterday, and no, that's more commas than I've ever seen in my underdog account. That's for sure.
There you go. And obviously the number came from, how much it costs to max Best Ball Mania. That's not often maybe the best place to put, your site credits. I didn't stipulate that you had to use them in BBM. So how will you be using your site credits?
I'm going to be using my site credits in quite a few different ways, I think. First off, I'm going to be doing a big dog with Rambus. I promised Rambus a big dog when we had our initial phone call after we had first learned that we were going to a live vote after the Levitan 3 dropped. Immediately after that, he gives me a call, and he's pissed. He's screaming. I'm like, Rambus, I know it sucks. Like, we're going to have to go one-on-one, but I promise you, if I take down this whole competition at this point, what are there 12 people left? I'm like, if I take it home, I'll draft a big dog with you and I'll cover your entry. He's like, all right, that's great. So he was stoked on that. That was a nice little piece of solace for him there. But yeah, so first things first, pay and due on that with Rambus on Friday at 5, I believe 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll be doing that on my channel. So if anyone wants to hop in a big dog with me and Rambus and see the line of where we're going to take Ashton Genty in the first round, come along for the ride.
We did finally find the line here. You're not taking Genty over Gibbs. We at least have figured that out.
It's funny you say that because that was actually a conversation in Rambus and I's DMs this morning. He was saying the line is above Genty or above Gibbs, and I had to. You got to reel him back in at that point. Ashton Genty could be anything. He could even be Jahmyr Gibbs. So
yeah, I mean, if he becomes Jahmyr Gibbs, God, that would be an incredible run out. All right, we're about to pick at the 2-3 turn here, just to fill people in. This isn't a BBM. The structure's a little different. Same 2 of 12 to get out, but then it's 1 of 6 and 1 of 5. So a lot easier to get out of those week 15 and 16 pods. The question here at the turn, Nico Pickens, Jeremiah Love, Devonta Smith, Trey McBride. Who do you gravitate to here?
I would like to snag Jeremiah Love as one of the picks. Yep. Lock up the 2 running backs. I think there's a pretty big drop off there from Love to Hall and Kyren and the guys who go after him. So let's grab Love. And for me, I mean, it's honestly a toss up for me between Nico and Smitty. I'll let you take your pick there.
Let's so normally I'm a little anchored to ADP, but I think it's fun to have the Smitty conversation. He's been kind of, I don't want to say polarizing, but there is kind of this push-pull of like, do we anoint him as an alpha in this offense, or does the specter of Makai Lemon and some of this stuff, keep him as more of a 1A than just a 1? I mean, I'll say this, not that this should really change things, but Makai Lemon popping up with injuries, just the likelihood of a slow start. I mean, Smitty's going to get all the work he can handle here. So it sounds like you do feel confident that he can kind of ascend and be that alpha target hog.
I do. I mean, and I think this is a conversation that I'm kind of going back to more and more now after what we saw with JSN last year in year 3. And that's really just trusting in my prospecting on these guys more, because I was quick to move off of JSN after what we saw from him in year 1. And in the first half of year 2, I actually traded my 1 share of JSN in Dynasty straight up for Deebo Samuel on the 49ers. And it was about the week before we saw JSN start doing anything in the NFL. But Devonta Smith for me is like a top 5 to 8 prospect of all time since 2014. Sorry, not all time. And this is the first time we've really seen him have the opportunity to take on that alpha role in an offense. We saw him do it in college. We know he can be an alpha target earner. And I think I really do think there's a chance that Smitty does turn into that guy. We know he has the talent, and I think he's definitely in the conversation around guys like Rashee Rice, Drake London, Malik Nabers, obviously. All of these guys can be wide receiver 1s, but I could definitely see it for the Eagles in 26.
For sure. Yeah, man. And it was interesting too, where, it seemed like he was always going to push up once the AJ Brown trade happened. And then there's just been some lingering doubt, but I'm with you. Like, push comes to shove. When we've talked a lot about Rashee Rice, it is almost like it's a projectable volume play. It's just like, I just want to, soak up those targets. I like with Devonta Smith that it can be both. The volume uptick's going to be there, and it's way more of a talent bet based on what he's been. We do have some housekeeping to do here. I normally don't have a guest in the kickoff slot. You are correct, Go AZ Cards. You didn't miss the coffee pour. I haven't done it yet. I do have my Basileros and Sons coffee here. We are going to be doing a couple more coffee giveaways on this stream as well. So stay tuned after this draft. We'll do some giveaways as we are now officially sponsored by Basileros and Sons. And what more fitting to have a coffee sponsorship, to have a guy whose last name is literally Cups joining me here to fill up my cup. But here it is, the official Basileros and Sons coffee pour. There you go. Are you a coffee drinker, Cups? Please say yes for the sake of the sponsorship.
I am. I have my mug right here. I don't have a pourer. I just do the pour over with the the little 10 thing and put some grounds in it. So it's cup by cup basis over here.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll say that Vassalero and Sons, that sounded even better than the normal coffee pour.
It did. Oh, that's now you're pro. And you know what? As now that you're under the Overzet media umbrella, I'm going to make sure I get you a promo code for a free bag here to try out the Vassalero and Sons. And then you can join me on Wednesday mornings with a cheer. All right, we're on the clock here. We're looking at Evans, Montgomery, DeAndre Swift, Devontae Adams, Jameson Williams, mainly running backs and wide receivers here. Who jumps out?
Yeah, you saw my first article on Fantasy Life. This for me would be Big Mike. I'm not worried about the injury. It doesn't seem like it's going to be anything too crazy. Literally everybody around him is turning to dust as we speak. I mean, this is just another guy that we could see. He's being drafted 47th overall right now. And I think there's an argument. I talk a lot. Oh, I think we're on the clock again. Yeah. I would grab Jameson Williams here would be my next guy.
Let's do it.
We'll stack up the double with Jahmyr Gibbs and maybe look to grab Goff as well later in the draft.
Yeah, and I am going to pull this up here. Keep going, and I'll pull up your most recent article. But what were you saying about Mike Evans?
Yeah, so one thing I found when I had this first article was just 3 things that the big fantasy touts are getting wrong this year, and one of which I was coming around with the fact that I just think the veteran wide receivers as a whole are being just mispriced. Everyone's being pushed down. We can go down to this. You can see we have over the last 4 years, we've had at least one wide receiver over the age of 30 finish top 12 in fantasy points per game. None of which of the wide receivers that are 30 or older are even close to the top 12 in terms of price. And I call out, obviously we have Terry, Devontae, Mike, Cortland Sutton, Chris Godwin as Jacoby Myers is like the main guys here over that age 30 threshold. And for me, it's like I'm immediately drawn to Big Mike here and Jacoby Myers. We can have that conversation later. But Big Mike in the 49ers offense being just a red zone machine with Brock Purdy, I think we could easily see him turn in a season kind of like what we saw with Devontae Adams last year, as long as Evans stays healthy. So if we do see that, he'll absolutely return value on that wide receiver 26 price tag.
And I think, the other thing that Evans has going for him relative to Devontae Adams is he doesn't have a Puka Nacua, vacuuming up 14 targets, alongside of him every week. I mean, Adams, for as good as he was, he really hung his hat on the touchdowns last year. Not only is Evans going to have that role, as called him a red zone monster this year, but he is going to be the top dog who leads that team in targets for as long as he's healthy. So I feel like you can kind of have your cake and eat it too there with Evans. And man, it's hard not to get excited about him. I'm excited about him even if everyone in that offense was healthy. And now it's like, it is going to be the Mike Evans show.
It is. Yeah. And funny story about, I guess, Mike Evans and the 49ers in general. I actually met the assistant wide receivers coach for the 49ers at a winery in Napa a couple months ago.
This is the most tough story ever. They say you've never had a bad day in your life. I was hobnobbing with the 49ers at Napa. Yeah.
And this guy and I chopped it up for like an hour. And I was trying to get I was on my crack rock shit. Like I was trying to get some insider information about the 49ers. And he told me, he's like, yeah, we got our eye on one of the big wide receivers. This was before Mike signed. But he's like, I knew Mike from back in the college days. Like we both went to the same college. They're about the same age. And he's like, yeah, I've been hitting him up on the phone. Like, I think he's going to come to San Francisco. I'm like, no way. So I had a little bit of insider information about where Mike was going to end up. I should have dropped the leak on Twitter and seen how it went.
We're going to change. We're scrapping. You're no longer my quant. You're my sommelier. I'm sending you to Napa to just post up, to rub shoulders with the rich and the famous from Silicon Valley and see whatever kind of NFL intel. That's right. You're the new crack rock here.
I got you.
All right, there we go. All right, let's see what we're going to cook up here. We have Jahmyr Gibbs and Jeremiah Love at running back, Devonta Smith, Mike Evans, Jameson Williams. Unfortunately, Hurts goes. That would have been a fun fallback to the 6-7 turn. All of those kind of elite quarterbacks have come off the board. One faller here potentially would be Tyler Warren, which would be intriguing. He goes, I jinxed it.
Man.
So we're looking at a tough spot here. Marvin Harrison, the slight faller. What do you think?
Yeah, Marv would be one for me here. He's one of my favorite targets at wide receiver. Oh man, this next pick though, this is like honestly probably my least favorite area on the board, especially if the quarterbacks are gone. That pocket of elite QB. I mean, what do you think here? Makai Lemon's kind of interesting, but with the injury, I'm not sure.
Are you a Tucker Kraft guy?
I'm not a Tucker Kraft guy.
Do you want to just get? Do you like Pollard, Chuba, or Harvey?
Let's go Pollard.
Yeah, we can just get another. I normally go Ramondre here, but he's gone. Warren went. Hurts. Like that string right there is normally my fallbacks here. Hurts, Ramondre, Warren. We do grab Pollard. Yeah, I guess the only other thing is like, is there someone else here if we had more time that you would have been comfortable pulling up? You know, a Jaden Reed, an RJ Harvey. Do you have any other targets in this range?
I do. I mean, yeah, I kind of learned my lesson when I drafted with Davis, though, that I can't really be recommending pulling people up that much since we're you guys that draft a ton of volume. Like I don't want to be. We have to care more about ADP, right? So there would be people that I'd be more interested in. Like I really like a guy like Chris Godwin. I really like a guy like Josh Downs. And obviously being on the turn, like they're not going to typically make it back. But at the same time, it's like when you play volume, I feel like it's probably minus EV to pull those guys up. Would I be right about that?
Yeah, I do think though, like there's the double dynamic of one, it's not only is that part of the board flat, it felt so flat that we're like, I don't know who to take. I don't think there's anything wrong in that range. I do think it's an interesting conversation of that tipping point. You're referencing that stream you did with Davis as it pertains to Bucky Irving. And I do think in that range, in those top 5 rounds, like one of the things we always talk about is ADP is predictive for scoring fantasy points, like almost on an exponential curve. Like at the top, we're really good. And with each subsequent round, we get less and less confident that ADP is an accurate predictor of future fantasy scoring. So like a big reach in round 5 is a lot different than a big reach in round 7. And then I think the nuance of the conversation becomes, where do the tiers exist? Because I think you can make some pretty big arguments. Hey, the round 4 wide receivers are flat. Maybe the opportunity cost of grabbing Jalen Waddle at the 3-4 turn slightly ahead of ADP isn't that big of a deal because all of those wide receivers are similar. But I think Davis's point still stands that if you do that over and over and over again, not only are you going to be highly concentrated on a few players that you are saying the market is wrong on, but you also have the chance to just kind of hemorrhage value and build lesser teams than your opponents with those same players.
Yeah, Charlie makes a good point in chat about it being a time boxed competition. I'm curious how much of that plays into effect too, where something like this, like it's time boxed, it's probably going to fill pretty quickly, right? So it's not like when you get to week 17, you're not competing against those teams that were drafted pre-draft, right? You are in BBM, where you have just such a wide array of times that these teams were drafted. So I wonder, do you have any opinion on whether that plays a big impact on how you would feel about ADP versus pulling people up and getting unique, like stuff like that?
No, I think Charlie's completely right. Like I still want to be value conscious, but this is the spot to, in those tiers, go and grab your guys, because you're not going to be worried. Generally, the reason you worry about getting unique, it's like I reach for this guy and then his ADP falls for some reason and people get him around cheaper. And it's like, I was trying to be unique and all I did was just sacrifice a round of value. But the time box element mitigates that. One thing we should talk through here at pick 96 and 97, we probably should get a quarterback. Purdy makes a ton of sense with Big Mike. It's not a big reach at all. Then the next question is, Goff at 109. I'm going to just put Brock in here.
Brock's a for sure click. And this is actually hilarious because this is the exact issue, or I guess question I had in my solo stream post. So you think you tout on Monday. I had Gibbs and JMO when I was in the 101. And I did pull Goff up here. Granted, it was by accident. I didn't do it on purpose, but I think it makes sense. Like, I mean, that's the quarterback that like our team, like we would need, right? But I also love Chris Godwin. So I think I could go either way depending on how you're feeling here.
Let's push it. Let's talk about Godwin. The theme of today
Okay.
is these undervalued wide receivers. I'm more in on Godwin than the market as well. I know there's a lot of fear about him coming back, but I mean, even the quotes just yesterday are he has his explosiveness back. Like the health hasn't been a question. The team's telling us is back. And then the secondary concern is like, okay, coming off of this big injury, can he be himself at this age? Now they're telling us he has his explosiveness back. So from a pure projection standpoint, and this is what you were looking at in your article as well, like he projects so well at this price. And the other reason I think that I'm willing to do it is it now gives us an extra quarterback out because Baker goes 10 spots after Goff. If we lose out on Goff, we now have that extra quarterback.
That's a really good way to think about it. Yeah, opening up another stack there. And I think I would have been more inclined to force Goff there if we didn't have Mike Evans that we could put with Purdy. Like, I think getting one quarterback there was really important. So as long as we got one, I think it's probably sharp to try to push Goff. But yeah, in terms of Godwin, it's just back to that conversation about those veteran wide receivers being mispriced. I mean, coming off the board at wide receiver 36 on average. It's an interesting situation in Tampa Bay this year. Obviously, you have Mike Evans leaving. So in theory, you would think that the market would want to push Godwin up because this is the first time we've seen, Godwin without Mike. How can he be? We've seen Chris Godwin in recent years be extremely effective, right? Before that injury, he was tracking for wide receiver 1 or 2 overall in points per game. So I think it's also an interesting hedge against Igbuka because I really do like Igbuka a lot as a prospect. He was actually the highest graded prospect in my model coming out of that class, ahead of Tetaroa and ahead of Travis Hunter.
That's spicy.
It was. Yeah. I mean, in terms of projection. So my machine learning model also projects these players' ceilings. So while he did come out with the highest grade in the cup score, he did have he was only at third highest in terms of his overall ceiling. So Tetaroa and Travis Hunter had a higher ceiling, but I think it's still just the way we saw Igbuka finish last season. I get he was injured. I get that, there were things working against him in the overall offense, but man, at the same time, I don't remember much of a more disappointing finish for a guy that had all the opportunity in the world to take on that wide receiver 1 role. Once it cleared up for him, once Evans got hurt and they said, go be the guy, Igbuka really struggled. When Evans wasn't clearing it out, drawing that number 1 coverage, Igbuka was struggling out there. So I'm a little more hesitant to just anoint Igbuka the unquestioned wide receiver 1 on Tampa Bay this year. And I think grabbing Godwin is a solid hedge there.
We did lose out on both Goff and Baker, so we'll be looking at some cheaper stacks. But how we're set up here is late round tight end, late round quarterback. We have a really solid base at running back and wide receiver. The team here, we got Brock at quarterback, Gibbs, Jeremiah Love, Pollard at running back, Devonta Smith, Mike Evans, Jameson Williams, Marvin Harrison, Chris Godwin. Can we get George Kittle? Is that what you're sweating here, Kyle?
Yes, that's what I'm sweating. That would be quite the pick. That would be quite the pick. That would make me feel a lot better about missing out on the other quarterbacks.
We'll see if C Bates let us. Don't time out. Make the pick. Don't auto the top pick on the board. Good.
Hey, he's got his ranking set. Love it. All right.
I'm going to put this in the queue here. The quarterback situation, this could potentially, do you like Malik Willis? It could be a spot, or we really push it to the next turn and hope we get like a Ward, a Dimes, or whatever, or you start building out a backdoor stack here.
Yeah. Do you think we could try to push Malik, or is there no shot that he comes back? I mean,
I think one other thing we could do you like Higgins? You could try to build another CJ Stroud back stack as well.
Let's grab a Higgins. I don't have a ton of Jaden Higgins, but I like the idea of opening up another stack with Stroud there.
Yeah, the only other thing, it's like looking at running back, Gibbs, Love, Pollard.
Purdy and Stroud are going to have the same bye though, so we will need.
I think we're headed toward a 3 quarterback build anyways, so I wasn't as concerned about that. I think the question, maybe had I thought about it more, grabbing like one of these next 3 wide receivers, Rodriguez, Tracy, Mitchell. I don't know did any of these guys separate for you, or is this part of a tier?
It's all part of a tier, honestly. If we're being completely real, the guy I have the most exposure out of those top running backs is Woody Marks, which I know we've had a little bit of a conversation about. And I mean, that opens up potentially more of a stack with Stroud if Marks makes it back to us, which would be cool.
That actually does make sense here. Catching up on the chat, Pete is the George Kittle guy, but not in on the new George Kittle. Are you talking about Tucker Kraft? This was a little while ago. We just didn't want to pull him up there. Although Mazone says not a Tucker Kraft guy, kicking squares while he's down. The world's biggest Tucker Kraft guy there.
Yeah. I mean, it's just with Kraft, the thing that makes it a little hard to get there for me was just his expected fantasy point production last year and the discrepancy there between his actual fantasy production. I think in my stuff, he was the expected tight end 11 when he was the tight end 1. So it was like the usage, and we know this about Tucker Kraft, right? Like him being an elite option entirely relies on his own efficiency and his ability to create on his own. And at least that's how it's been so far throughout his career. And do we think he still has that level of efficiency when he's coming back from a pretty nasty knee injury? I think it's a little questionable for me. So him going around the guys like Tyler Warren and even ahead of like a guy like Harold Fannin, Sam Laporta, it's a very expensive price for me with Tucker Kraft, as much as I love him.
Yep. Yeah. And that's, the thing I've been, wrestling with a lot this year, and why I even like these late tight end builds so much is it's just like there's so much tight end value throughout the board. And even though I can certainly see the ceiling cases for Warren and Kraft, there does just feel to be a little bit more of an opportunity cost in this range where it's like, where we took Kittle, like he was just such a screaming value here. Whereas like, yeah, you do have to take, Tyler Warren ahead of some pretty exciting wide receivers, guys like Josh Downs, Reed, Metcalf. I mean, it's a little bit tougher price-wise, and yet you don't want to be completely out on these young, explosive tight ends. Obviously, the yak stuff with Kraft has been well documented. But let's see what we're looking at here at the end of the 12th round. We're playing a little fast and loose here with this build in that we need quarterbacks, we need tight ends, and we need running back depth. One thing that's tricky about burning your 6 wide receivers early like this is it's just a little harder to build out back stacks. Yeah. That said, I look at the board right now and a ton of picks make sense to us. A falling Malik Willis, Cam Ward with Pollard, Woody Marks at running back, Stroud as well. So I think our patience should be rewarded here, knock on wood, with these final 4 picks in front of us.
Yeah, there goes Willis. That's a little bit of a bummer. That would have been a cool faller for us. But yeah, so I mean, Stroud's probably going to be there. Darnold goes, all right, I don't want to jinx it. We don't want to see a QB run here.
Yeah, let's see. I'm looking at the drafters in front of us. What do they need? We got a dart team. This is PH. He's generally in the chat. Oh my, come on, bro. Naked Stroud there on this team is dirty work on us here. I think this is what we do. I think Ward, and there goes Woody. Man, these guys are not giving us anything. I'm going to put Ward in the queue right away. Let's look
I like
at
Ward. I like let's look at running back as well. I think we probably need to. I was thinking maybe even double tapping Daniel Jones and figuring out a backstack there. But I mean, the fall off after Daniel Jones to me, like to Bryce Young, gets a little sketchy in all honesty. So
let's do it.
Okay. And we have the double hero up top at running back. So it's like, Antonio is a third. Tony Pollard is our third. I think we're fine to kind of really press the limit on running back. Yep. And I don't hate our quarterback room, grabbing Ward and Daniel Jones there.
Yep. We do go Ward and Jones. So now we are free from getting shut out there. We have Gibbs, Love, Pollard. Like you said, the 2 elites up top. And this tier at running back is just so flat. We can add potentially 3 late here to round out this build. Our wide receivers are rock solid. Devonta Smith, Evans, J-Mo, Marvin Harrison, Chris Godwin, Higgins, and then we have George Kittle at tight end. So looking at the in-game, we have 5 more spots. 2 of them are probably tight ends, and 3 of them are probably running backs. So we get to like a 3-6-6-3 build, which is probably what this team needs.
Yeah, I think that build makes perfect sense here. I'm trying to think with Daniel Jones, is there anyone we could potentially look to backstack? There's a conversation. I know there's a lot of conversation out on the streets right now about avoiding zeros, right? But a time boxed format like this, is there any value in trying to snag like a DJ Giddens, who we think's probably going to win that RB2 role? I mean, talk about a late RB2. This is a guy you just drafted in the last round, and he's always available. I don't think there's a chance Seth McGowan is beating him out for the RB2 role. I think Giddens is going to have that. Giddens also, by the way, awesome prospect. Like, people are forgetting how good of a prospect DJ Giddens was. It sucked that he went to Indianapolis to back up Jonathan Taylor, but he has the talent, or at least we think he has the talent based on what he did in college, to like say JT does have issues with health this year. I mean, that could be a league winner in Giddens, but obviously he could also be a zero if we see JT do what he did last year.
Right, for sure. And I think, there was some initial concern, like during OTAs, he was splitting work with Seth McGowan when JT was out. But the recent reporting is Taylor hasn't been practicing, and Giddens has been taking the majority of the first team reps. So that's really good. The only other fly in the ointment is they have been potentially a rumored destination for a free agent running back. Like, it would not shock me to be like a Najee Harris spot. It wouldn't shock me to be like, hey, we trade for the Trey Benson or James Conner. Again, those are minor concerns, but it goes back to that idea of, are you willing to take the zero? But that said, like, looking at even the ETR ranks on Giddens, they have him at a nice rank, like 197. That's inside, firmly inside the draftable range there. So I think on a team like this, to get one little correlated piece with Jones, I think he's somebody we could put in our back pocket. Okay.
Nice. Yeah, I like that. And we're seeing some of the running backs that I do like taking stabs on. Like, would you ever consider Pollard and Spears, considering they're not necessarily overlapping roles? I would. I think Spears did just go, so we can't take him anyway. That's more theoretical. But how do we feel about Sadiq here? I mean, I know that he's a little bit of a faller. Or I guess, he is a little bit of a faller, but we do see some injury stuff coming out with him.
Yeah, let's talk. So the Sadiq stuff is pretty concerning on this most recent injury. Can I sell you on Dylan Sampson?
You can absolutely sell me on Dylan Sampson.
So my only concern with Sadiq is I just think he's going to get significantly cheaper. Here, it seems pretty bad. I would probably push us to Hawk, Barner, Greg Dulcich, Helm, or we just grab like Jaden Blue to get another running back dart here and then figure out stuff later. Who of those names?
Let's grab Blue. I'm not really sold on, or do we want Gunnar Helm with Cam Ward?
That's a good call. We'll probably miss out on Helm. That would have made sense, but it's also like the running back stuff can get so bleak.
It gets dicey.
That I think like Blue is a guy who I feel the guys on ADP chasing were talking about him last night. I mean, he's checking every box right now as far as being a riser. And I love how things are setting up, both with these picks specifically, because Sampson and Blue kind of represent an old archetype that is hard to come by now, which is the explosive back with a pass catching floor. Like, that's the one thing we feel good about these guys. Sampson, Blue, they're going to catch some balls. And then the question is, what is the true contingent upside if Judkins gets hurt? If Javonte, will they become 20 touch a game guys? Probably not. But even if you give them an extra 3 to 4 carries in addition to their pass catching work and base work, at 15 touches a game at these prices, you start to get pretty excited about that.
Oh, 100%. I mean, and I think you could make the same case for Woody Marks. I'm a little surprised that he doesn't get thrown into that lump as well, just considering he had one of the better receiving profiles coming out from the last year's class as well. And we saw him produce at a legitimate level as a rookie. So I agree with you, though. I think Sampson and Blue are solid bets. And I do think if you do throw a couple carries their way, I'm not sure how much Jaden Blue specifically is going to be able to do with them. Because I don't really think he's a great rusher, but I do agree that he's one of the better receiving profiles from last year's class, and also in a solid offense too. So maybe you don't need to be that effective of a rusher to be impactful on the ground if you're in the Dallas Cowboys offense. So I think it would be interesting to see what it would really look like for him if Javonte did go down. I mean, do we see like Malik Davis take on more of the bruiser role and then Jaden Blue's just kind of like the satellite? I think it honestly could be a little nasty, but there's definitely upside there with Blue.
For sure. I mean, what he had that game, I just want to jog my memory of how many carries he got in that final. So yeah, in that final game where he kind of really looked good there, where he went 16 carries for 64 yards. Ironically, didn't get any receiving workload there, but that was in that week 18 game where they let him cook a bit. So just even seeing scenarios where they're willing to give him, 15 plus touches a game, that shows a little bit of intention that they think he could potentially do that, as opposed to, you go look at the Keaton Mitchell box scores of the guy, I think has had one game over 10 carries in his entire career. So I think it's there for Jaden Blue.
Yeah, one thing about Jaden Blue too that I can never get out of my head is the fact that the head coach last year was giving him shit for wearing Louis Vuitton cleats. Like,
I remember that.
That is such an ass like thing to say as the coach, bro. They're not Louis Vuitton cleats. They're literally just Nike cleats that are customized to have the logo on them. It's like, that's a very common thing among professional athletes. I'm actually like, one of my things, I'm pretty like, I like fashion. I like style. I thought they were drippy. I liked his cleats.
Okay.
And
there you go.
I just think to call them Louis Vuitton cleats is crazy. And then also people are giving him shit for that. Like, come on. Those are cool.
All right. We're about to pick at 16, 17. We're definitely eyeing tight ends here. I think Dulcich looks like a pretty nice value for us if he falls here. Yeah. Otherwise, we're to like the Freiermuth Gesicki, and then it really kind of falls out. Please don't take Dulcich from us, C Bates. Just let us have this one, brother. Just once, please. He's going to do it. He's going to do it. Okay, he didn't. So then the question is do you like a Freiermuth or Gesicki, or would you prefer to try to push the final tight end? What do you think?
Man. So we're going to have one more running back, one more tight end.
Yeah, and like if we want to try to get in, I think getting the tight end here is probably the move.
I think I like Freiermuth over the other guys here. So
yeah, I agree. I think Freiermuth is kind of, him and Gesicki are the last of a tier here. We need that third tight end. So we have Kittle, Dulcich, Freiermuth. We are at that 3-5-6-3, and now we can. I think Giddens is a fun thought, but we can go a lot of different directions. Speaking of like late round running backs, do you have a horse behind CMC as far as Jordan James or Kalen Black?
Definitely. Yeah, I'm team Kalen Black over Jordan James personally. Okay. I think with Kalen Black, I mean, they drafted him in the third round, and we know that draft capital, as much as we didn't, think Kalen Black should be going in the third round, very similarly to how we didn't think DeJon Stribling should be going 33rd overall. Obviously, you need to take the draft capital from the 49ers with a little bit of a grain of salt. But I think at the end of the day, we can't read too much into it. He's a third-round pick is still a third-round pick. And for that reason, Kalen Black still projects out pretty well in my stuff. And he's been – have we seen the reports coming out that he has been taking on – at least before he got hurt, like he was starting to take the reins of that RB2 work with Jordan James sidelined, right?
Yeah. Yep. And it has seemed like it's been a pretty big 50-50 throughout the offseason as far as who it's going to be. This is why we can't have nice things on stream, because someone takes DJ Giddens, I guess, right at his rank. Here, kind of looking back on the Jaden Blue versus Helm situation, we're probably, Sean Tucker's still on the board. The 2v2 would be, do you like Helm with with Ward paired with, say, Sean Tucker, or do you like Jaden Blue and Pat Freiermuth unstacked? That was kind of the 2v2 we ended up with there.
Yeah, I think I could go either way on that, honestly. I'd probably still just go Helm for the correlation with Ward, but yeah. I think either way, those we could look back in hindsight, and both of those could be probably even.
I do agree with you. I think in hindsight, probably grabbing Helm there was the move, but on this team, having two more cracks at some breakout running backs there, I think made sense. So I like getting the Samson in blue, but we're going to have one more pick here. We are drafting with Alex Cups on this special Wednesday edition of Best Ball Breakfast. We have Brock Purdy, Cam Ward, Daniel Jones, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jeremiah Love, Tony Pollard, Dylan Sampson, Jaden Blue, Devonta Smith, Mike Evans, Jamison Williams, Marvin Harrison, Chris Godwin, Jaden Higgins. And then we just got our third tight end there, Freiermuth, along with Dulcich and George Kittle. I think we're doing good here. We're doing good.
Yeah, I'm liking it. I think it's a little bit of a different build than what I would normally go for, but I think we're landing the plane, and I think we have some reasonable options here to take the Flyers on for our last running back. Yeah, I don't even want to star anything because I feel like people are gonna snag them from us, but
that's what happens. That although a bunch of these guys all have a lot of running backs here. Yeah. Have you been doing any of we had the 2 rookies on the Titans last year. What did your model think about DK and Iomanor?
Really, really liked Iomanor.
Okay.
I didn't even really put DK through it because I didn't think he was a real wide receiver. So I was very how do we want to approach this? I think
go black
is just perfect.
Go ahead and then we'll fully recap this.
Okay. Yeah, I actually think after what we saw from DK and Iomanor, they actually both look pretty good in my year 2 stuff too, which is a little questionable now considering we saw them draft Carnell Tate, which that doesn't take into account, right? It's just taking into account their prospect profiles and their rookie production. But both of them looked really good in a vacuum when we just look at those things. Obviously, when they add Carnell Tate and they still have Calvin Ridley, I think things get a little more sticky. They also added Wan'Dale Robinson. So there's going to be a lot more competition there. But I still think there's a window for one of them to emerge as like that third wide receiver, which I would believe to be Iomanor. I think he's probably draftable if you have Cam Ward and you want to grab like a late round back stack. I think Iomanor is a solid click in the last round too.
All right, Cups, let's put a bow on this team. We kind of knew we were headed to a 3-6-6-3. We had, some dicey moments with some of the quarterbacks and kind of, a sliding doors moment there. Should we have gone Goff instead of Godwin? But ultimately, I think we did land this plane. Brock Purdy, Cam Ward, Daniel Jones, 6 running backs, Gibbs, Love, and Pollard early. And then on the back end, Sampson, Jaden Blue, and Kalen Black have the solid wide receiver room here with Devonta Smith, Big Mike, J-Mo, Marvin Harrison, Chris Godwin, Jaden Higgins. We do get the nice George Kittle fall to stack that up. Greg Dulcich, Freiermuth. So some good team bets here on the Niners and the Titans, a little naked dimes. How do you feel about this one?
Yeah, I think it's solid. I think I really like starting a team Gibbs Love. I think that's honestly one of my favorite 1-2s on the whole board. So I like grabbing that here. I like Smitty as our wide receiver 1. Obviously, I like Mike Evans, which we've talked about, the veteran wide receivers being mispriced, in my opinion. So, yeah, I think this team's cool. I do wish there could have been some things that broke a little better for us. Like if we saw Jalen Hurts fall back a couple more picks there, I think our team would look a lot different. But as a whole, yeah, I like it. I think it's solid.
Beautiful, beautiful. Make sure you guys check out Cups' debut article up on FantasyLife. The 3 things touts are getting wrong in 2026 fantasy football. I love that little wink to So You Think You Can Tout. Cups is going to be joining me here on Wednesday mornings the rest of August. And then he will be joining on Fridays once we get in season for our new show. We'll have way more details about that as we get closer to the season. But Cups, you got a ton going on right now. FantasyLife over here on your own channel. Let people know what else they should check out here as you head out the door.
Yeah, a lot of stuff coming the rest of this offseason and throughout the season. Recent stuff, we have this article, obviously, that Pete's pulled up. I'll be dropping the first edition of Cups Corner on FantasyLife as well, which is going to be my premium piece, my premium written piece for them. So that'll be coming out, I believe, every Thursday or Friday this season. And that'll be just me talking about whatever the heck I want to talk about in fantasy, whether that's data, whether that's any usage trends that are coming out that are interesting to me. So kind of just my creative outlet in the written format on Fantasy Life. And then I'll also be hopping on multiple of the Fantasy Football is Life shows with Dwayne McFarland, Matt Friedman, doing those a couple times a week. Particularly the one that's locked and loaded is going to be the waiver wire show that we do every Tuesday morning, going super in depth into the weeds on the utilization report from the previous week and who's looking good on that week's waiver wire. So make sure you're tuning into that. And in terms of the personal channel, stuff going to be coming there as well. Cups Analytics on YouTube. Next thing coming up will be the Shipperlytics Big Dog Friday evening on the Cups Analytics YouTube channel. I'll be drafting with Rambus and a surprise guest as well. So make sure you guys tune into that. And if you want to join the Big Dog, 5 p.m. PST, we're going to be getting after it. So yeah, beautiful. Thanks for having me on, Pete. It's been a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the offseason, man.
Yes, congratulations. I know we had someone in the chat said they just realized Cups won. That's right. It's a spoiler alert. That said, you got to go and watch the So You Think You Can Tout finale. You also have to block off an hour and 45 minutes of your time because it's a banger. There's a lot of stuff in there and some other opportunities for other touts as well. So go and check that episode out. Cups, appreciate you. So excited to be working with you here and going forward. Congrats on the big win, and we will see you around at all of your various places.
Thanks, Pete. Appreciate it, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Peace. All right. With Cups on his way out here, I am going to get our coffee giveaway going. As you guys know, Best Ball Breakfast is now sponsored by Vasileros and Sons Coffee, your one-stop shop for all of your coffee needs. Have been loving all of their offerings here. And they said, you know what? Let's give some of the Best Ball Breakfast crew a free chance to try some of this stuff out. So let's do, in honor of Cups here, we're going to do this hashtag, Coffee Cups. If you aren't staring at the screen, this is spelled CUPPS on Cups. So hashtag Coffee Cups, all one word. And we will spin here in a second for, we'll do two spins. We'll do two spins here for those of you who have tapped in for this Wednesday edition of Best Ball Breakfast. You'll get a promo code from me to go purchase a bag of Vasileros and Sons coffee completely for free on the house here so you guys can try it out. We'll let stuff trickle in here for a second. Uh, 35 entries. Hashtag coffee cups. And while we're doing this, I am going to go ahead and pour. I'm going to run a solo Pitbull draft here as well. Just tipped you guys off in the Discord. We have some spots here if you want to draft alongside me in the Pitbull. I will see if Cooterdoodle and Gretch, we can mix in some BBMs still as well, but I do like being able to get in some of these time box contests, especially with how well I'm doing with my Best Ball Mania pacing here. Yeah, I'm at 107. So if I was doing just at minimum 8 of these a week between the two Best Ball Breakfasts, I would soar past the finish line maybe even earlier than I would like. So we're going to pace ourselves a bit here. Let's get this contest up. The Pitbull 2. Oh, this is a slow draft. I did enter a few of these as slows. I had to learn my lesson with the Chow Chow because you know what I can do? Where's my... The solver added a new little widget where you can... Where was it? I had seen it before. Oh, it's because I need to get on Chrome. That's where they added it on, on Firefox. Maybe we try that so we can get that widget. They have a new little thing where you can hide your slow drafts, which is very helpful for times like this, when I enter a fast, here we go. Let's see. Hide slows there. And then we can find this. All right, we have the 106 in this one here. This is the Pit Bull. If you guys missed this contest dropping, $20 entry, 100,000 up top. You know what I need to do? This is what, now I'm going to have to go back and forth. I am on the clock. CMC goes first. Let's grab JSN, and then I'm going to quickly go back and we're going to spin for a couple of coffee giveaways here. 47 of you have entered. We'll pick 2 winners here. Good luck to everyone. Make sure you guys check out Vassaleros and Sons Coffee. You have the link down below. You can get 25% off your first order and free shipping with promo code Pete. Andrew Nolan 7771. Congratulations. Either hit me up on Discord, Twitter, or leave your contact info in the comments, and I will get you the promo code so you can get 100% off a free bag of coffee. Andrew Nolan, congratulations. And let's see who else is going to be joining Andrew as a big coffee winner today. Oh, it's my guy, Ivan. Congrats, Ivan R. Black. There you go, brother. I have promo codes for both of you guys and for everyone else. Like I said, Vassaleros and Sons Coffee, link down below. And I need to pour myself some more coffee here as well. All right. I think we are back up and running here successfully. Let's pop out the draft board here. Oh, nope, that is Cup's article. There we go. There we go. Now we are cooking. About to be back on the clock here. We started with JSN. Who are we looking at? We doing the big dog? Big dog or Brock Bowers? Let's do the big dog. Let's do the big dog. Derrick Henry, JSN. I think in BBM, I have been mixing up there a little Bowers, a little Derrick Henry. But we'll get our testosterone going here this morning. All right. As I said, I need another coffee pour here. Oh, yeah, you can't make that mistake. Air Jeff says I I spelled it wrong. Yeah, you gotta get that correct to be eligible. All right. We got the Pitbull draft going here. There you go. Congrats, Ivan. The people want me to mix in Jalen Naylor. I think I did in a slow draft eliminator. I think I took a Jalen Naylor share yesterday just for the lulz after our big conversation on Monday. Caddy Kev says he's back to Kroger generic brand for him after missing out on the giveaway. We're going to have giveaways each week. Giveaways each week here on the Best Ball Breakfast. So keep tuning in. We will reward the live viewers with an opportunity to get free coffee. Was there an impromptu bash? No, the bash is happening tomorrow. Thank you for the reminder there. Although let me make this pick and then I'll give you guys the lowdown. JGFC, you want to let me have Jeremiah Love here? Nope, you don't. Do I want to go McBride? Do I want to go Breece Hall? Let's do McBride. I mean, this is a nice price for McBride. We passed on Bowers. So the 2v2 is, what do you think about this 2v2? Bowers and Breece Hall versus Derrick Henry and McBride. I have a feeling you guys are going to like Bowers Breece over Henry McBride. That's like a slapxis 2v2 right there. Henry McBride versus Bowers Breece. It was just the coffee giveaway. But as far as the bash, so The schedule will we'll always have a stream on Thursdays at noon. Some weeks it'll kick off with the bash, and then we'll have the randomizer stream after. Tomorrow we're kicking off with the randomizer. My guess is Danny Heifetz from The Ringer, really funny guy, does the Ringer fantasy football show. We have a ton of good prompts. I think we had like 35 prompts, a combination of people on Twitter, in Discord, obviously the randomizer writer team. We will be getting that all prepared. He'll kick things off at noon. After the randomizer, we'll do a couple of drafts with the Best Ball Bash. So probably get 2 drafts in there. I'm guessing around 1 and 1:45 if you're looking to draft on stream with me tomorrow. As always, the way to get in those drafts is just be a YouTube member. The level does not matter. As long as you are a YouTube member, you'll have access to the chat, which will give you access to putting your name in the drawing, and we'll spin that. Generally, we've been having somewhere between 15 to 30 people trying to get in those drafts. So if you keep showing up, your odds will be decent to get on stream eventually. All right, we have both Etienne and Jacobs falling here. Wow. I guess I'll just take the bigger of the 2 values, although, man, these ETR ranks really prefer me to do Jacobs. Let's do Jacobs. We'll do Jacobs. Man, that's a tough call. I mean, their ADPs are basically the same, 39 and 40. And JGFC doesn't even consider the ETN faller there. But yeah, I'm taking Josh Jacobs at pick 43 there. Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs to start, JSN, Trey McBride. Let's see. Josh says, do you like Puka or CMC for Best Ball Weekly winners? Well, first of all, I say you got to go watch the show yesterday that we did with Chad Maschke. He came with a ton of data looking at 2025, specifically through the lens of the Weekly Winners contest, and had a lot of good actionable takeaways. So make sure you guys watch that episode. It was part of our off and on the clock weekly streams with the Badge Bros. But Puka for me in Weekly Winners, I think part of the selling point of CMC is the floor, the consistency of the production. But one of the things you really are looking for in that contest is the 30-point weeks. And I do think it's fair to wonder, with CMC's lack of explosiveness in the running game, even though he'll still be involved at the red zone, I do think the 30-point games there for him might be a little harder to come by relative to guys like Jonathan Taylor, and obviously for guys like Puka, who are going to see so much work there. So yeah, I prefer Puka over CMC. Andrew, where do I contact on Discord? You can shoot me a DM on Discord, or if you're having a hard time doing that, just tag me in the general channel. Just go in there, tag me, and then I'll DM you the promo code later today. All right, we have started Henry, Jacobs, JSN, and Trey McBride. We are back on the clock here. We got JGFC in front of me, always a wild card. I will take Davante Adams if he does not. He does take Davante Adams. So this is the spot here. Do I do the Hendo thing, the Bucky thing? Let's do the Bucky thing. I would say the news between Henderson and Bucky could not be more different right now. Like, the Henderson dumb beat is pretty bearish right now. Like, this is normally the time of the year with these second-year backs where it's just like, oh man, you know, it's one thing to be skeptical, I think, of nonstop positive news, right? Everybody's gassing each other up. All the teams want, you know, to look like geniuses for these picks. All the Henderson stuff is just concerning. It's like, yeah, we still would like him to take more strides in pass protection, you know, where, you know, he's still struggling to pick up some of these basic concepts. This is still Ramondre's backfield. Like, that's vaguely concerning to me. The Bucky stuff has been a little bit more encouraging. Obviously, they continue to talk about Kenny Gainwell. He is, of course, going to be involved. But I think the opportunity for a smash here from Bucky is still alive and well. I really think the Bucky thesis comes down to how involved Sean Tucker is. Because if we get that third back and he's getting squeezed at the goal line, that's where it really gets dicey. But if Tucker does take a backseat, or he isn't as involved as much as maybe us best ball bros would like him to be involved, then I think Bucky is set up to be a pretty big smash in this offense. Henderson ADP is paying for a banker 30-point week when you need it. For sure, which is kind of what it was last year. I do think at some point his ADP, you know, would dip a little bit. He falls to 57 here, and I do wonder if this becomes a little bit more of the norm the rest of drafting season. And I will, this stretch here, I'm kind of playing fast and loose at a wide receiver. This is such a boomer running back room. I guess not Bucky, but I'm going to go Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Bucky Irving, Ramondre. And then we have JSN, Trey McBride. So we will be playing massive catch up at wide receiver here. Here you go. This is the anchor wide receiver build. Crane-ass team. You're right. Hey, I'm not taking Kolar on this one. I did. If you want to see me take Charlie Kolar, go watch the Swolecast yesterday. We gave each other challenges. Davis's challenge to me, and I can reference it in my text message, was the all YouTube commenter team, dumb beat players. If you don't get that reference, you need to be watching ADP Chasing. Jalen Naylor, Parker Washington, Chris Rodriguez, in general, players most likely to get a YouTube comment, Marvin Harrison Jr., Travis Hunter, Bowers, etc. Basically, the most lightning rod players within the realm of best ball Twitter. Of course, I need a wide receiver, and all of these guys are now coming off the board here. JGFC, I will take DK Metcalf. If you do not, I do not need a Pollard. Yeah, this is a Metcalf-ass team for sure. I mean, we're down to Metcalf, Sutton, Downs, Addison. Yeah, let's grab Metcalf here as our wide receiver too. This is a high T team for sure. Henry, Jacobs, Ramondre, DK Metcalf. Also, Davis in the chat reminds me that we are doing a Swolecast AMA today. I believe that starts now, so start answering questions, Davis. I will try to pop in at some point today. Thank you to Jeremy over at Reddit for giving us three musketeers a platform to answer your questions. Nothing Reddit, I'm sure, enjoys more than three fantasy football comedians answering a bunch of redraft and keeper league questions. Really a match made in heaven. But no, we do appreciate Jeremy giving us the space to share our truths with the larger Reddit audience. So you can check that out today on Reddit. I really wish it had been intentional. Way less fun for a machine to have done it for you. No, so it was actually a very serendipitous pick, my Charlie Kolar pick, because I did have Herbert and I had a team where I mega punted tight end. So it was like actually the pick I needed to make in round 18. So it actually worked out pretty well. After this solo draft, we're going to have Cooterdoodle joining me at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. She will be followed by Ben Gretch at 12:15. I got the 4 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end. I don't need anything quarterback-wise right now. I'll probably just scoop the Sutton value or take Godwin here, depending on what Twizzler does. Still need to catch up at wide receiver, so we'll just do the veterans. We'll do Sutton. Haven't been a big Sutton guy. Haven't drafted him a ton, but 8 picks past ADP on a team where I need a wide receiver seems fine. Seems fine. Raise It says, wow, Etienne at 410. Am I crazy for thinking that's a great value? No, you're not crazy. That is an awesome value. I was torn between Slurp and the Dipper. I think both Jacobs and Etienne are awesome picks at this price. 43 for Jacobs, Etienne. I was flipping a coin there. I probably should have just taken Etienne since he was the bigger value relative to ADP. But no, I do not think you're crazy for thinking Etienne is good there at 46. Martin says, I'll take the plus 800 on you not taking Kolar and we'll split the winnings. Yeah, I don't think I'm taking Kolar on this team. I didn't end up with Herbert, and I also have Trey McBride, so I think I should be marked safe from the Kolar vortex. This is true. We did the ship chasing draft. We did a few in-person drafts in Austin. Pat and I were battling from the 11 and the 12 hole. We did a $250 entry FFPC best ball style draft. So 20 rounds, tight end premium, 2 flexes. And he had sniped me on Dak. I had CeeDee Lamb. I was pretty tilted about that. But then he had Herbert. And I went and sniped his ass on Charlie Kolar in like the 18th round. And it felt good. It felt real good. This is a good also, point to the Jacobs versus Etienne decision. Jacobs more likely to rise for sure. I mean, at this point with the Kamara stuff, there's just no way he's going to rise. Xavier Worthy here at 102, or do I grab my first quarterback? I think we go Xavier Worthy here. Sounds like he's going to be fine. No one has made any big rankings updates based on the shoulder thing, even though we did get that scare over the weekend. And I just got to keep stacking wide receivers here to catch up. And we'll be looking at a late round quarterback room. I mean, with JSN, we have Darnold. With Metcalf, we have Rodgers. Sutton, we have Nix potentially, although he'll probably go. We could do Bucky and Baker. We can do Love with Jacob. So I'm feeling fine at quarterback. Nitty Degen, you just putting this on a tee for me? Looking for a new coffee provider? Any recommendations? Damn right. Vassaleros and Sons Coffee. Check the link below, 25% off with promo code Pete and free shipping on your first order. Copy paste. Are we really afraid of Dusty Kamara? We knew Kamara was looming for months. Triple counting. I mean, I agree with you that we're triple counting right here with ETN sliding. We also know that the market always double counts it. It's never baked in. But pure objectively, yes, I think Kamara is a fly in the ETN ointment because the things ETN does well, that Kamara does well, are the high value touches. They're going to use him in third down situations. They're going to keep him on the field in goal line stuff. Like, I don't think they're just going to sub in ETN for Kamara if he's on the field. Like, there are situations where it could really cap some of ETN's ceiling outcomes. I still think he's a fine price in the 4th for sure. But, where he was going early to mid 3rd at points in this offseason, I do think you would prefer Breece Hall, Kyron, obviously Jeremiah Love, Jacobs to him. I do think there are scenarios where Kamara is pretty frustrating. Let's see here what we have cooking at pick 115. We got the 4 running backs, the 4 wide receivers here, along with Trey McBride. Yes, I was really hoping to get Bo Nix here. There are some wide receiver options as well who have fallen, Jacoby and Golden, but getting our first quarterback stacked up here with Cortland Sutton, I think, is the move. So we get Sutton 7 picks past ADP. We get Bo Nix 8 picks past ADP. I think this team's come together well. Charlie, you know what? I do need to branch out. When I order my next batch of Vassaleros and Sons, I am going to try some more of the varieties so I can be a true influencer. I just love the dark roast so much that I kind of just rock that. That's my preferred, but I do need to branch out a little bit so I can accurately shill the different varieties. Yeah, A Riddle says they're going to love giving Kamara some Devontae Adams Make-A-Wish TDs. Absolutely. Like, how do you pacify a disgruntled veteran coming back for one last rodeo? You give him a few Make-A-Wish TDs. Yeah, B-Stock says start with the classic Vassaleros and Sons. Matt threatening to almost snipe Nix from me. And Matt wanted to. Both of you in this draft threatening to snipe me? It's fair. Derogatory, that's fair. Bo Nix, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Bucky Irving, Ramondre back on the clock here. Man, this is like the opposite of last draft where we have so many quarterback options. I've been skeptical. I've been a little more cautious on the Kyler stuff. Like the JJ McCarthy thing. I mean, initially I just waved it. there is probably some late season risk there for Kyler, which is mainly the concern. I'm not concerned about him starting week 1. I think that's a pretty big lock, but just the fact that he is on a 1-year rental, they didn't pay him that much money. If things do go south, the fact that there could be some late season bench risk is not the funnest thing. But at pick 126, come on. I'm taking him at 126. Bo Nix, Kyler Murray, the quarterbacks. Ow! Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Bucky Irving, Ramondre, JSN, DK Metcalf, Cortland Sutton, Xavier Worthy, Trey McBride. I like this team. We'll have to play some more catch up at wide receiver, but it's going to be fine. I'm still probably going with a 3 quarterback build here. Rodgers, Darnold certainly makes sense. What did I do? Did I snipe you, Rohan? Are you in here? What did you have? Oh, you had Jefferson? Yeah. Nah, bro. You got to take... I guess you got to take Kyler over Bill. You got to let Bill go there. Are we really worried of Dusty JJ? I just said I'm not worried about him at the beginning of the season at all. But they owe nothing to the Kyler experiment if the thing goes south. If the Vikings are in playoff contention, it's going to be the Kyler show. But you have legitimate late season bench risk if the Vikings are out of the playoff picture. Why would you play Kyler at that point? It would make sense to go back to the guy you drafted highly and see if you have anything there. I think we just do Darnold here as our 3rd quarterback. We can maybe push. You know what? Let's actually push it. We need more wide receivers. Let's get my favorite love in life, Travis Hunter. If I don't get Darnold, I still have a Rodgers out. We have a bunch of cover on the board. Willis would be fine here. Let's push it a little bit. We'll get Travis Hunter. Up to 5 wide receivers now. JSN, Metcalf, Sutton, Worthy, Hunter. This is the right wing versus left wing slappy build where you just mash it up into one team. You have Henry, you have Jacobs, you have Ramondre, you have Metcalf, you have Sutton, but then you also take Travis Hunter, Xavier Worthy, Bucky Irving. That's what they call balancing your range in poker. Are we really afraid of Dusty Javonte Williams? This feels like a straw man comment. What are we talking about? We're talking about Jaden Blue now? There goes Jalen Naylor. Oh, the worst part of every draft when I get sniped on Jalen Naylor. Dude, no one wants quarterbacks in this room. Come on, JJFC. Let me have stacked up Darnold here at pick 150, bro. Just let me do it. Let me do it. Thank you. All right, there we go. The quarterback journey is done. I'm glad that I took Hunter and was patient on Darnold. Look at this value at quarterback, guys. Bo Nix, 8 picks past ADP. Ow. Kyler Murray, 14 picks past ADP. Ow. Sam Darnold, 7.8 picks past ADP. I'm getting more specific with my math. Ow. There we go. Still have those 4 running backs up top. Henry, Jacobs, Bucky, Ramondre. Up to 5 wide receivers. JSN, Metcalf, Sutton, Worthy, Hunter. Trey McBride holding it down at tight end. From a correlation standpoint, Hawk certainly makes sense here with Kyler. Barner makes sense with Darnold. Pat Bryant late makes sense with Bo Nix. This team's going to draft itself. I'm going to put it in cruise control. Put it in autopilot. All right, Drewster, I've received your message on Discord. I will message you after the show. Oh, sorry, Davis. I just missed your DM too. Yeah, I'm riding solo here, but we'll do. I'm going to be doing these every Wednesday, so I'm going to be mixing up the guests. I think we'll get some of the touts on. It'll be fun. It will be fun. All right, about to pick at 163 here. What are we looking at? Do we just grab Hawk? Hawk ADP 170. We also have Barner there. This could be a spot to do luxury Jonah Coleman. Do we do a fifth here? I have not been selecting a lot of Jonah Coleman, but we have a Bo Nix team. We have a rock solid base up top. I'm not worried about tight end with McBride. I have some options there. Let's treat ourselves to a little Jonah Coleman. Just a little treat. Do I think this is a good pick in a vacuum? Probably not. I could have treated myself to Zach Charbonnet as well. Zach Charbonnet would have been a treat. I have so many treats. I'm like my daughter, April. Every night after dinner, can I have my treat? You give her a treat. She says, can I have another treat? How many goddamn treats do you need? That's how I feel with Jonah Coleman and Zach Charbonnet here. I really did not need a fifth running back at that pick, and yet I was craving a treat. If that's a crime, sue me. Mr. Bet says he was in a wild room the other day and got Herbert 6 picks past ADP, TeSlaa 20 picks past ADP, and Baker 11. I was shocked. Underdog BBM 2. Some of those rooms, happen, right? Everybody comes together. There's this unspoken agreement to push quarterbacks. That's kind of what it's always been, right? It's a game of chicken ever since JJ Zacharyson invented late round quarterback. It's reading your opponents. Everyone's like, yeah, I probably should wait on these quarterbacks. And then it just depends how patient your league mates are willing to be. Or if someone breaks the ranks and then everybody starts wigging out trying to get these guys. All right, let's see here. Can I have Hawkinson? I'm going to put it in the queue. JGFC. JGFC would not take Hawkinson. Hawkinson is not a JGFC-ass player. It is not, but it's fine. I'll take AJ Barner if he does. Do what you need, JGFC. I'm at peace with it. Let's take Hawk. We'll take Hawk. We'll get him stacked up with Kyler. JGFC took Terrence Ferguson. Now that's an on-brand pick. 3-5-5-2. 3 more picks. One of them's going to be a wide receiver, or 2 of them are going to be a wide receiver. One of them's going to be a tight end. Or I guess it doesn't have to be. I could probably rock a Hawkinson McBride, but I'm guessing I'll like a value at tight end for a third there. Dude, I knew this was the case, but it still blows my mind every time I read it. Air Jeff says Hall of Fame game tomorrow. It's crazy, man. Football's already here. We're worried about slow draft clocks kicking in. I mean, this is the home stretch. This is the home stretch. Because I just got a DM from him, a reminder that tomorrow we will have an after dark with Shady Advice. Always a good time catching up with him. I think it's been a hot minute since we've done a show. We've done some after darks and lulls episodes over the years. If you're a YouTube member of the Best Ball Value Hounds tier, you get access to all of those after dark shows. Last week I had one with Mike Shope. Very fun episode. And tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, we will be joined with Shady Advice. All right, what do I want to do here? Tight end is getting... I'll do Gunnar Helm here. I missed out on Gunnar Helm last draft. It's not like I'm hard up for a tight end. And yet the Gunnar Helm... I mean, it's just like a slight value. But let's do Gunnar Helm, and then we'll land the plane with a couple wide receivers. I guess the big question with this room is, did I push it too much at wide receiver, or is JSN, Metcalf, Sutton, Worthy, Hunter enough of a base, and then I can grab 2 more here to land the plane? Tim says, almost time for me to pay for NFL Plus again. Yeah, I just got hit with my my YouTube TV and Red Zone bill. Or I think they warned me that it was coming. Whoa, the real Igloo. Good to see you, man. Corey, catch me up. Drafting my first best ball teams today. What's the one thing I need to know? Is 0 RB cool again? It's not cool. It's not cool, but it's definitely possible, I would say. It's definitely possible. Man, what is the one thing you need to know in this current landscape? The one thing you need to know. I mean, it is an interesting time in that ADP is finally getting shook up a bit. I mean, the San Francisco 49ers essentially detonated a bomb in ADP. No more Pearsall, Stribling, Debo pushing up. I think the biggest thing is just knowing that there is a ton of tight end value late and being open to really pushing tight end. I never dislike my builds when I push tight end. I want to get Pat Bryant on this team. I have Bo Nix. We continue to get really solid reporting about Pat Bryant's role in this offense. I do think he's going to be the clear wide receiver 3. And his ability to earn targets in the limited samples we've seen has just been really strong. And it's hard to find second year breakouts that, flashed in year 1 at these kind of prices. So I'm in on Pat Bryant in a vacuum, and I'm certainly in on him when I have Bo Nix. So now we have this big Bronco stack: Bo Nix, Jonah Coleman, Cortland Sutton, Pat Bryant. I like that. With Kyler, we have Kyler and Hawk. With Darnold, we have him and JSN. This is probably a Cooper Kupp-ass team. Or can you guys sell me on Torrey Horton? Are things going well for Torrey Horton right now? It's one of those two. It's one of those two. And then I'm going to need some more coffee here. What's the reporting on Bryant? It was here. I can pull this up. We had a Roto World blurb yesterday on him. The reporting was Pat Bryant is in line for a bigger slice of the pie in 2026. Speaking of treats, how about a bigger slice of the pie? He compares it to Bryant's 48% of the snaps last year while missing a few games, suggesting he expects Bryant to become the main third receiver, which is what I think most of us have been expecting. Did I just literally miss out on both Horton and Kupp? You guys are sick. What the hell? What the hell? Who am I going to take now? Tyquan Thornton? Sure, let's do come on. All right, we'll do Tyquan Thornton at the last second. We'll double up on the Chiefs speedsters here. Tyquan Thornton and Xavier Worthy. I cannot believe I just got sniped on both Torrey Horton and Cooper Kupp. Cap Attack, goalie. Were you guys really going to take them until I mentioned their names? Those are supposed to be picks that go undrafted unless I take them. That wasn't very nice. Horton 2 TDs. I wish. Congrats to Cups. Congrats to Alex Cups, to Cooper Cups, to my coffee cups. Congratulations to all the Cups. You wanted Troy Franklin? I don't think it's happening. I don't think it's happening for Troy Franklin. Christian Kirk. I don't know about that, man. Not with the calf strain. All right. Let's recap this team, and then we're going to welcome Cooterdoodle on to the program. We are drafting Pit Bulls this morning. The Pit Bull 2, rather. I forgot. This is the second Pit Bull. The Pit Bull 2 here. Today's date is 8/5. I like how this team came out. We got a lot of value. The quarterbacks were slipping. We were slurping the dipperinos. Bo Nix, Kyler Murray, Sam Darnold, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Bucky Irving, Ramondre Stevenson, and as a little treat, Jonah Coleman, Jackson Smith and Jigba, DK Metcalf, Cortland Sutton, Xavier Worthy, Travis Hunter, Pat Bryant, Tyquan Thornton at wide receiver. Trey McBride, TJ Hawkinson, Gunnar Helm at tight end. You can try to levy criticisms, complaints, notes on this team, but I will not be reading them because I think it's a perfectly cromulent team. I generally care what you guys have to say, but about this specific team, I do not care. I have made up my mind. You will not be able to change my mind. You can say this is a bad team, and I will say you are an unreliable narrator. So unless you say this is a good team, I will forever discount everything you say for the rest of your life, because this team alone will determine whether you have good takes or not. But don't you know that Troy Franklin is best friends with Bo Nix? I think there's a statute of limitations on the shower narrative. Sure, coming out of Oregon, sharing that shower together, I get it. He wanted him to join him in Denver. But at some point, the shower narrative fades away. I don't think they're showering. He's now showering with a bunch of other wide receivers. So unless they're rooming in the same apartment, I don't think the shower narrative stands. We care about like breakfast narratives, right? If Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp are getting breakfast every morning, that's a real current narrative. But the Troy Franklin best friends with Bo Nix, I need to see it. Are they out golfing together? Are they going to play bingo, mahjong? Are they hitting up happy hours? I need proof that this friendship is still alive and well, because as far as I'm concerned, he's been pushed to the periphery. All right, it's time. It is time to bring on one of my favorite people in all of Fantasyland. It is FantasyLife's very own Cooterdoodle, the world's biggest Saints fan, who also recently sold her season tickets, so maybe not the world's biggest Saints fan. Amanda, welcome to Wednesday Best Ball Breakfast.
I'm excited to be here, Pete. And I have to say to all the haters in the chat about your draft, I think you're being a good, gracious host, and you're trying to set the bar low so I can follow up and cook a little bit, right?
Oh, you're going to be cooking. You're going to be chefing here. You're going to be like that little gif there with the two pans. You know what? I feel like I haven't seen as many blacktop grill photos from you this summer. You still out there grilling?
It's been a hot one. It's been pretty bad. Like I don't know if you guys know about Louisiana heat, but it's been pretty sweaty outside.
Yeah. How have you been doing? I know you're busy with real life stuff. I was excited that you were able to hop on this morning. You having a good summer?
Yeah, I have a couple days off here before we start back up. And so when you texted about Wednesday mornings, I said, let's do it. And this is, as you know, I can't legally draft any of these in Louisiana. So it's kind of like my one little dose of best ball dopamine.
But you did tell me you have been illegally drafting them on the Underdog dark web, right?
No. I am not that kind of person. But when I go visit friends in Houston, I try to remember as soon as we cross like the state line, I'll open my phone up. But we haven't gone in a while, so.
Yeah, will you do a live draft on a trip like that, or you'll enter the slow draft so you can do those once you get back home?
I do the slow drafts and I try to milk it.
Okay, I like that. Just to milk it for information, or to just savor the concept of doing an underdog draft?
Correct. Both, but mainly savoring it just because I'm like, oh, I can't do this once I get home. So I just get the fresh feeling of checking and being like, I'm still on the clock.
Are you I've been trying to pace myself with Best Ball Mania. I can go either way. Do you want to do a pit bull with me? We'd have a better chance at winning money. Or do you want to swing for the fences in a BBM? Because I want to make sure we get whatever you're feeling here.
I don't know the difference. They're all dogs. All dogs go to heaven. So you pick.
All right. Today's theme has been the pit bull here. Let's do a pit bull draft with Cooterdoodle. You can join us 8 more people. It's still 100K up top. I mean, this isn't anything to turn our nose up at.
So this is just not the biggest dog.
No, but it's a ferocious dog. I mean, pit bulls, they kind of have a stigma sometimes as being a little mean, don't they?
You know, I've never been bit by one.
Me either. I've also never been bitten by a grizzly bear, but they also have a reputation.
It's hard. I mean, where's the science, Pete?
That's kind of the thing. I guess it's like, are all animals innocent until bitten guilty, or is that how we have to treat them?
They feel threatened, you know.
All right. Well, we have the 107 here, Amanda.
Okay, I kind of like that.
Whenever I draft with you, I think back to when the very first year
Garrett
I streamed
Wilson.
150 and you came on my final marathon stream to close it out. I was pretty loopy on mimosas at this point. And
Yep.
Garrett Wilson had an ADP of like 112 or something. And you're like, can we take Garrett Wilson 103? And I was like, let's fucking go, Amanda.
But in my defense, there was some argument there. I wouldn't say there was enough, but there was some.
Yeah.
I
No, there
convinced you of
was not. It was a revelation because I think through that stream I had been shackled to ADP and you said, Peter, break free and take Garrett Wilson. Do you have a player like that in round 1 this year that you want to get on your team at all cost?
Gosh. I mean, at this point, 107, what's going to be around? I've been avoiding. I say been avoiding as if I'm doing best ball drafts, but Justin Jefferson, I know that there's the hype and the resurgence, but I am still nervous about Minnesota.
Yeah.
So he's one that I've been avoiding. I know that's the opposite of what you asked, Pete, but that's where I went with it.
No, it's fine. I'll just keep asking you questions and feel free to just discard them and say whatever you want. It's like, do I even need to be here if you're just not going to answer the questions?
I will say this. I don't know if people are going to snipe us. Should I not say things that I want?
No, you could. They're gonna do what
kind.
they do no matter what.
Be
Not
kind.
really.
Be kind, guys. This is my only one. This is all I get. But I would love, because I feel like everybody's always disrespecting golf. I would love if we could do like an Amon-Ra golf stack.
Oh,
That would make me happy.
Is that kind of your prevailing draft philosophy? Is like, I want to go in and right the wrongs of the people who have disrespected these players by selecting them. I might not even like them, but they deserve better. And guess what, Amanda? You know who's at the top right here?
We can do it. We can do this.
Amon-Ra.
See, speaking into existence. While we wait here, do you mind if is it like sacrilegious if I do a coffee pour?
No, can we do
Because I came
corresponding
prepared.
coffee pours?
I came prepared. I was not going to bring a coffee pot upstairs.
Okay.
But I did bring another mug.
This actually feels dangerous. Like you could spill
I might
here.
burn myself a little bit, but
we're going full screen for you.
Okay.
No, please do
I
it.
might burn myself. But look,
Here we go.
it's almost symbolic because we're moving from
Ooh, we got the
ever.
scroll. Let's go.
So let's see. I might burn. Yep.
Oh no,
Little
Amanda.
burn. But did it
I was
sound
worried
good?
about that. I was worried about it. I
But
know
did it
that
sound
move
good?
coming out of the cup where you get the little slippage there on the side. But I appreciate you doing a coffee pour for the people. I'm going to do one here as well. Did you burn yourself, Cooterdoodle?
No.
Are you fine? Okay.
My pant leg definitely has a shade of brown, but nothing somebody who eats lettuce would not respect. I will say though, I did pre-sugar and put cream in here. I don't know if you go full black with it, but
I am straight black with the coffee. Occasionally I do some of the iced lattes. I don't mind, but on a normal day, we're just straight here. All right, let's lock in. We're about to pick at 2-6. We have Amon-Ra on the squad. By ADP,
Okay.
Your options are Achane, AJ Brown, Brock Bowers, Drake London, Nico, Pickens, Rashi Rice. Any of those?
I
names
like
for you?
Achane. If we want to go running back, I kind of like Pickens. I know that's a little maybe too low there. I don't know if we should
Yep.
wait.
I like either of those guys. Who do you want to do? Who do you, in your heart of hearts? I think we're
Man,
gonna
let's do
Achane.
Achane and let's just hope that he is the offense.
Yes, that is the hope. That is the hope for sure. Do you have, because these running backs here, they all go off the board in the same spot every draft.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any favorites? If you had to pick a favorite of the Hampton, Kenneth Walker, Chase Brown, Henry, Achane, who stands out to
I
you?
like Chase Brown this year a lot. I really do. Because if you look at his numbers, as long as Burrow's healthy, he's a good boy. I like Chase Brown.
There you go. He is a good boy. Have you done any of your redraft drafts? Did you do your Scott Fishbowl?
I did Scott Fishbowl, but the only one that really truly matters is the home league, and that's at the end of the month. We're hosting it again. Oh, I am also. I've texted all the 3rd grade moms and dads, and I'm starting a fantasy football league for my little girl and her classmates. And
wow.
she didn't want to do it, but now that all the kids want to, she's like, I'm going to crush them. So I'm the commissioner of at least 2 third grade leagues right now.
Incredible. And what are the dues? You have to fork over some of your
No
fig
dues,
Newtons or-
no
okay.
dues. It's just selfishly, I need to get her interested in football, Pete, because
Yeah.
I don't know if you're in that realm yet with April, but it's like, we're not watching the movies you want on Thursdays and Sundays and Monday nights. Like, this is mommy, daddy TV time. And so I'm trying to selfishly get her interested in it.
I think that's a very smart move. I mean, I will say though, I'm willing personally to sacrifice the Thursday and Monday battles to win the Sunday war, but you're saying I'm coming for it all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I really am.
Wow.
And look, the good thing is she's not a bandwagon like me. Like, I'll jump ship. I know we need to look over here. Let's see. Smith, I like.
Oh, he goes Brees, Zay, Kyron, Igbuka.
Man,
Higgins,
do we want to
Ladd.
lean into the Zay hype, or is he going? I don't know about like how things are going in ADP. Is he jumping too much here? I also like Higgins.
Yeah, no, come on, we're vibing here. So Zay, Kyron, Igbuka, Higgins, Josh Allen. Who do you like the most?
Not Allen. I don't want to go quarterback yet, unless you want to. This is your money.
He's out of the queue.
I'm between Flowers, Igbuka, and Higgins. I kind of am nervous about Tampa Bay. It seems like things are going south there.
All right, let's do Flowers.
And what I mean by that,
what do you mean by things going south in Tampa?
I mean, Mike Evans left for less money, Pete, and then Baker comes out there saying he feels disrespected. I'm just like, I don't know. It's bad vibes.
You think it could blow up? Yeah. I don't know. I've been watching Baker on Netflix, the new season of quarterback. I think he's going to be fine. He's just a passionate guy. Mm-hmm. He's just a passionate guy. I think it'd be more worrisome if he was checked out. You know, he's just like, I don't care. I'm just collecting a check.
Right.
The fact that he feels disrespected, I think it's good.
Right.
That's
you don't want
apathy.
Zone. Yeah,
that's
you're right. You're right. Hate and love are the same coin.
That said, I do find the Igbuka price to be a little rich for my blood. I like taking Godwin later, but that's just me.
Mm-hmm. I could see that.
Where are you at on your Saints though in this range? Olave, Etienne.
I think I wrote about it in FantasyLife saying that, Olave is going to have a career year now that he's got a healthy quarterback and all these pieces are falling into place. However, I do not like to draft Saints because I'm going to be rooting for them in real life and I can't be like double disappointed. Double elation would be fantastic, but I also recognize double disappointment. So I usually don't draft Saints players.
Wow. What if Etienne's here at pick 42, which would represent an
I don't know because Kamara, I'm not really sure, even as a Saints fan, where we're going to go with that, how he's going to fit into everything. So I get nervous, but I definitely don't want Josh Jacobs.
Okay.
I'll say that much.
I took Josh Jacobs over Etienne last draft. So maybe you can help me right the wrong.
Okay, then let's right the wrong. Let's do it. But
look who's top of the board. Does he bring you joy? Will this make you happy?
Look, is it 100% exposure? Let's do it.
100% exposure. Here, this is the bigger question. Are you capitulating to big Travis Etienne pronunciation, or are you holding strong with Etienne?
I will say that for about a year and a half, my husband was already calling him Etienne because that's like the down south pronunciation of that name with the little French in there. And I was all, it's Etienne. You don't know ball. You're stupid. And then it got changed and it was announced. And it was like, I remember we were in the car and he just looked at me and I'm like, yeah, I know. So he has been on board. I am now catching up.
Incredible. And so did he come back and own you and say, actually, Amanda, it was you who didn't know ball?
Yep. But it does that down south, Pete. Like you have names like Chaponche and Sharpenche. They're spelled exactly the same.
Okay.
It just depends on what side of the bayou you're on,
How do they say Zach Charbonnet down there?
Oh, no, that one's not one.
Well, I always get I always get pronunciation mogged by Kendall on any of the shows because she's such a professional broadcaster and she has every name down, and I'll just be there like still saying Etienne or Albert Akui Bunam, and she'll just be out there correcting me as
She's
she
got
should.
it like phonetically typed up on her little,
Yeah, I know.
cheat sheet.
All right, this is what we've done. We've started with Amon Rock, came back and grabbed Achane. We grabbed double Achane is what we did here.
Yeah,
Devon
we did.
and Travis. We have Zay Flowers. We're about to pick in the middle of the 5th round. Quinshon Judkins, Lamar. Do you like Lamar with Zay? Is that your jam?
We can do Lamar if you want to do the stack. I'm also not against DJ Moore, but if we probably need a quarterback at this point, right?
We can go either way. Who do you want more, Moore or Jackson?
Let's do the stack just because let's believe.
Okay. But now we have the Lamar Zay stack, which I actually just wrote about in the newsletter because I love this stack. And then we have, as I called him, No Fun Friedman out here being like, oh, new offensive coordinator, new head coach, can't draft Lamar. And then I have Doughton Dwayne McFarland out here being like, Zay Flowers is too small to score touchdowns. He's never going to score another touchdown. I think we just stuck it to him, Amanda, with this one.
Can't convince you otherwise, Cooterdoodle.
Yeah. Yes.
I do also want to really quickly. This chat is because I lost a side bet and I don't back down from side bets. So, as a Saints fan, also a Falcons fan.
Yeah. What was the side bet?
One that I instigated in the FantasyLife Dynasty League, but I won, and that's all that matters. I lost the battles. I lost the 2 side bets that I proposed, but I won the war.
How long do you have to keep that Falcons hat there?
It was never really said. So I'm kind of I've embraced it. And my little girl roots for the Falcons just to upset my husband. So it kind of gives me now like a place to be with her, in solidarity. So
wow. She's already gotten the troll bone in her. Love it. Let's see here. Are you if Jordan Tyson goes, they weren't going to let us have all of them. We're probably not going to do another quarterback here. So I'll look at running back, wide receiver, tight end. Tyler Warren goes. So we're Marvin Harrison, Jalen Warren, Makai Lemon, Pollard, QJ, Metcalf, Ramondre. Anybody here you like?
I'm scared of Marvin Harrison. I know that is just propaganda, but I am. Makai Lemon, I don't know about the injury.
You want to do Lemon?
How you feel about
or you want to do Warren?
How you feel about the injury? Yeah.
I don't love it. We took Lemon. Yeah.
Okay. Because I was going to say, I do think Aaron Rodgers loves Warren, and I think that stands for something.
I think you're right. We probably should have gone Warren, but we didn't have enough time to deliberate there. So, we're gonna pay a premium for Lemon and just pray that he isn't a lemon.
He'll be all right, I'm sure. It has to be.
Now that we drafted him, this is the team of Manifest Destiny. So once he's on our squad, any concerns wash away.
Right. And do you feel good in a few rounds if it's there and nobody snipes him going for golf to get that double stack, or is that not appropriate?
No, I think the golf plan is still intact.
Okay.
Let's look at this. Let's game this out because his ADP and anyone in this draft with us, just earmuffs right now because we're just having a private conversation.
They're not going to do it. I know they're very kind people.
So look at this. His ADP is 109. And we pick at 103. So we just say, hey, we're going to just reach a little bit to make sure we get him. I think that's the plan.
Okay. That works. Do you recognize a lot of people in here?
Let's see. Dabk I recognize. Troy I recognize. Shady Advice is in the chat. Mr. Montel is in the chat. Hawkberg I recognize. Len Keith I just hung out with this weekend in Austin. Agers I unfortunately recognize. These are a lot of friends, foes, and family.
See, I choose to trust them all, and I don't think they're going to sabotage.
Okay.
They're not saboteurs. All right, let's see who we should get next so we don't accidentally pick another lemon.
Yes, no more lemons here. Are you a Tucker Craft?
I want to be a Tucker Craft person. If you pick him, it'll make me a Tucker Craft person.
We're going to be patient on quarterback, so I'll get rid of that again. So by ADP, it's Metcalf, it's Kraft,
but
it's Alex Pierce, it's Chuba.
We also missed out on Metcalf isn't terrible either. Because we missed out on the other. He got taken.
He just went. So Kraft, Pierce, Hubbard, Jaden Reed, Sutton, RJ Harvey, Rico.
Okay. For me, it would be Kraft, Cortland Sutton. Either of those two for now, probably.
Let's do Kraft.
Okay.
Kraft. Here we go. What it sounds like you have a history with Tucker Kraft. Is that true? Do you have a complicated history with him?
I mean, maybe this is the narrative, but I feel like, can we hate him for the injury? You know, like he was doing so well. The connection was so good. It's not his fault.
It's true. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devon Achane, Zay Flowers, Travis Etienne, Lamar Jackson, a Lemon, and Tucker Kraft here. How are we doing? You feeling good? Are we on track?
Mm-hmm. I like it.
Okay.
I don't know how many yellows and greens we need, but I'm liking it.
What content, do you know your in-season content schedule for Fantasy Life this year, or are you still figuring that out?
We'll be doing scared money, buy, sell, hold, a couple of newsletters a week. They've been letting me do those personality, like they don't really give me anything other than you have an article due on this date and I get to do whatever I want. I've had a lot of fun with those.
Okay, we have a ton of running back options here. Do you like Chuba, RJ Harvey, Rico, Jonathan Brooks?
Ooh. Do you believe in Brooks? I kind of like the Dobbins and Gainwell, but could that push to the next round?
I think we could probably push them a little bit.
I'm nervous about Harvey. I say Chuba or Dowdle, whichever
what if
you feel
I told
better.
you our pick already passed and we selected Jonathan Brooks?
That's who I was going to say. Okay.
That was going to be the third name I said. I mean, the Chuba versus Brooks, that's like an ultimate choose your fighter moment. You know, are you going to trust the incumbent?
We're swinging for the fences.
We're swinging. All right. We did get Jonathan Brooks there. I will make sure that we huddle up more in advance. The other option I was going to throw out is like, do we go Laporta and just really try to go all in on this Detroit stack?
That could have been fun.
But we also just took Tucker Kraft. So we now have the one quarterback, the three running backs, the three wide receivers, and a tight end. We know we want Jared Goff.
Mm-hmm.
And otherwise, I think we're humming. We're humming.
All right.
Someone had asked for a long shot bet in the chat. Have you started perusing anything, or is that going to be more in season? Are you going to do some season long bets here?
I'm probably going to have one this week, actually, for my little like whatever you want to do, because I've been cooking a little bit. I've been putting a few fun ones out there, but mainly stacking some over unders.
Beautiful.
Because we know Kyle Pitts is going to get over 4.5 touchdowns. Like, come on, people.
Yes.
He's married to the bit.
No, Troy just took Goff at night.
You know what?
Dude,
this is fine because
that is
he probably fat fingered it. He didn't mean to do that.
No, he did. He took Laporta and then he took him 20 picks ahead of ADP. Troy, that is foul play.
He didn't mean it. I choose to believe he didn't mean it. So who else? Do we need to stack somebody else? What else do we have?
We could do like Naked Jackson Dart, or you could do Jacoby Myers. You could do Kenny Gainwell. You mentioned liking him.
Right. I'm okay with Gainwell. I'm okay with that.
All right, let's do Gainwell. Although you did say that you're worried about everything coming undone there.
Have you learned nothing? I will change my mind. It takes almost nothing. As soon as the pick is in, I'm a Tampa Bay fan now, baby. Like, you know what I mean? Locked in. I do like Gainwell, though. Bucky, I understand. I know he recently was called a stud, but that's all right.
You know what? We're balancing. One of my drafts that I just did, I took Bucky. We come back and we do Gainwell. This is the beauty of being a best ball bro, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can just play it both ways and you just say, hey, that's what the draft gave me. I don't have to have any strong takes. There's good running backs on both sides of the aisle.
And when in doubt, we blame Troy.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we do. Do we take Jackson Dart here, 14 picks past ADP?
Oh,
Or do we just need another wide receiver? Myers, Golden, Wan'Dale Robinson.
Is Myers the guy to get in Jacksonville?
Hang on, I'm going to make a last minute executive decision.
Do it.
Actually, it's an awful executive decision. I was like, we'll get Matthew Golden and do a Jordan Love double stack.
And Love's
then
gone.
didn't realize Eggers, I can't even deal with this guy, Eggers. In fact, I have pre-made banners for this guy named Eggers. That's literally Eggers and a bunch of clown emojis. And this guy, I can't be mad at him here. I just didn't even see it already taken him. But all right, whatever, Cooterdoodle. We're going to recover. All
right. What about, oh no, he's gone. All right. I don't know. I don't know how we should stack this further.
Well, here's the thing. We don't have any obvious stacks right now.
Right.
But we did need wide receiver pretty badly because we only had 3 through 9 rounds, and one of them's a rookie who's hurt right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Let's see. If you want to lower your stream snipe chance, you can delay stream. I'm not worried about stream snipe, guys. We're just having fun. If I wanted to avoid stream stripes, I wouldn't be a streamer. I would just draft all of these on the underdog dark web, like Cooterdoodle drafts her teams. We are here to draft with the people. Does that mean we can't tilt them? No, we absolutely can. But this is a community effort, right, Amanda?
I still think that Troy was probably pouring coffee from mug to mug, slipped, press golf.
That's right. Yeah, we're coming back around. We're saying it wasn't malicious. All right, let's look at some options here. Do you like Coker? Are you a Coke head?
You know, I feel like we're drafting people I normally wouldn't, and I normally wouldn't draft him. So why not?
Do you watch Shaheed win in Rome?
You know what? I actually am writing about how I'm not drafting Shaheed.
Wow.
I know.
Wait. So I'm going to draft Coker here, but I need you. Is this breaking news? Is this a bombshell? Cooterdoodle is out on Rashid Shaheed?
It comes out Friday.
Oh,
and I'll leave it at that.
What happened?
I break it down. I'm very kind, but I do have my reasons.
Okay.
You know who I am in on? And I think I caught you talking about him. You might have gotten sniped at the end right before you put me on here.
Yeah.
Torrey Horton.
That's your, okay.
I am a late round Torrey Horton girl.
Okay.
I was in on him last season, and it paid off a couple times, very rarely, but I'm excited about him. So if we went Shaheed, we never could do Horton. So let's save it.
Yes. Okay. So the one other nice thing about getting Coker was we could get Bryce Young stacked with him, assuming you don't mind him. Now no one's going to take Shaheed because once they heard that the world's biggest Shaheed fan isn't in on him, everyone's like, I can't touch that.
I'm still a Shaheed fan.
Okay.
Don't let that, change you. I still am. I still got the jerseys. I'm even framing 2 of them.
I would say here, we could still be in the market for more wide receivers. Shaheed, Diggs, Travis Hunter, all of them are here. Do any of those jump out to you?
If you want to go Shaheed, do it, and then it'll give me more. It'll give me more to write about. I want you to do
who you want.
It'll give me more to write about.
Who do you want?
Do Shaheed. Do it, and that way I can talk down about what I felt afterwards.
Let the record show. Amanda's going to try to write this article and say she's out on Shaheed. And yet, a team she co-drafted just selected Rashid Shaheed, and she'll try to say, oh, I wasn't the one clicking the buttons. I'm in a state where I can't do that. But this clip, I gave you the out. I said, Diggs is there. Travis Hunter is there.
I don't know, Chad. I didn't hear it.
Take Shaheed.
I didn't hear the out. And I think they'd have my back on that one.
All right, but Rashid Shaheed.
I have 5-degree burns on my right leg right now, Pete. I'm struggling. I'm mentally. Who did we pick these last 3 rounds?
You are so accomplished as an academic that I really did think you were going to go an academic flex. I have 5 degrees. That's what I thought you were going to say. And then you said 5-degree burns. But I was going to believe you that you have 5 degrees.
Oh my gosh. No.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. We're in good shape because we were a little rough at wide receiver, but then we go Golden, Coker, Shaheed. I think we're back, baby.
Do we need another tight end at some point? How many do you leave with? 2?
Yeah, Tucker Kraft. At this point, we might be looking at 3. Might be looking at 3 here. We have 1 quarterback, 4 running backs, 6 wide receivers, 1 tight end. I am glad we got Lamar, right? Because it's taken a little bit of the pressure off of us here. Achane, Brooks, Gainwell at running back, Amon-Ra, Zay, Lemon, Golden, Coker, Shaheed at wide receiver, Tucker Kraft at tight end. We are 3 picks away here. if Darnold comes to us, he would be a great
Yep.
little pair with the guy you hate, Shaheed.
Yeah, I mean, we have him. So Darnold's not a bad pick.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like McMillan. I like Hunter Henry. I like Strange.
Yeah, I do think this to me looks like either a quarterback or tight end pick. Darnold's here.
Then just do it. Rip the
Let's
Band-Aid
just do
off.
it. I mean, look at this.
Super Bowl champion, Sam Darnold.
Do you want to do an AU 9 picks past ADP for Darnold?
What is the cutoff on the ADP? How many does it have to be? I would have thought a full round.
It fluctuates. It fluctuates, but this is definitely Howell worthy for sure.
I thought you would have gone like a full 12.
Well, here's the thing. We get to combine Shaheed 8 picks past, Darnold 9 picks past. That's 17 picks of ADP value. That certainly warrants a Howell.
Okay. Well, we did it. So we have 2 stacks.
Yep.
All right.
We have 2 stacks.
We have birds.
Oh, you're right. Ravens. Do seabirds count?
Yeah, they count.
Okay. All right. We started this episode contemplating whether pit bulls are mean animals. And now we're going to get into a deep academic conversation on whether Seahawks do count as birds. I'm willing to allow it. Here's the question. This is the crazy question.
Mm-hmm.
Would you go 3 quarterbacks with Bryce Young and Coker, or is it like, we're good, dog, let's get a tight end?
We could wait. The tight end, the quarterback drop off's more real. So maybe go.
It's up to you here. If you said you like Strange, so I think, the tight ends, it's like Strange, Schultz, Hawkins. Bryce Young goes. So they just made our decision. You said you like Strange.
There you go. Let's do Strange then.
Okay. All right, let's do it. Brenton Strange, our tight end 2. Now we're really balanced. 2, 4, 6, 2. We have 4 more picks. We can really do whatever the hell we want at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who is there anyone else? And again, you gotta whisper it because we know what these guys will do. But is there anyone else on your wish list other than Torrey Horton, who I know you do like?
It doesn't make sense. So I'm just saying this as I just want to get it out there that I do love him. I love Isaac TeSlaa. Okay. I know it doesn't make sense, but I do love him.
Wait, didn't you love him last year? Didn't we draft him last year?
Oh, I don't know if we did, but I love him too. I don't think he's got, a consistent spot on the roster on the depth chart there, but he'll score a couple touchdowns,
Can you explain your Isaac TeSlaa love here?
I think he is a safety net whenever they're just a couple yards away from a touchdown every now and then. I know Gibbs is there, but give him 10 targets and he's coming down with at least 4 or 5 touchdowns.
That would be some good rage bait on X, Amanda, to be like, why you should take Bijan Robinson at 101 instead of Gibbs. And it rhymes with Schmeisik Meslaw. Okay. Speaking of Lions, no, Pacheco just goes there. We can do whatever we want here. Hawkinson, A.D. Mitchell, Antonio Williams, Brian Robinson, Jerry Jeudy, Dulcich, any guys you want to get here?
Not Jeudy. Not Dulcich.
Quick.
Click Robinson.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I think a 5th running back here. B-Rob's a good pick.
It's unfortunate that before I'm locked in, and again, I don't do best ball often, but I know the ones I don't want. I have stronger feelings about that.
You're right. And it is easier, right? It's easier to poke holes, especially at this stage in the draft. Like we can find something negative to say about all these players. And that's kind of just your MO, Amanda, right? You're such a negative person. You see the worst in all these players. You can't find one redeeming quality at this point in the draft.
I will say, if we hadn't gone Strange, can we talk about if we hadn't, how would you have felt about Terrence Ferguson?
Now that's a hot topic conversation.
Is it?
Here. No, I mean, he's a very popular player. He is steaming up draft boards right now. What's your thesis? Is Terrence Ferguson, is he part of your draft plans?
I'm intrigued by it because I do think Stafford is going to be slinging it still. But I also like Corum. If I had to pick a Ram, I love Corum. And I think we talked about this in one of the newsletters or one of the episodes we did with Kindle, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't remember now. But I am a Corum girl. I know you were not necessarily letting it affect your Kyron Williams take.
No, I like Corum. And I mean, we continue to get more and more talk about, hey, this is going to be a split backfield. And if that is even remotely the case, then Corum is underpriced and Kyron is overpriced. We're back on the clock here. I mean, you said T. Ferg. Do we bring him on down to this squad?
Is 3 too many?
No.
Okay, then let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's live a little. Terrence Ferguson, Tucker Kraft, Brenton Strange. We have 2, 5, 6, 3 here. We have 2 more picks. The world is our oyster. We can do whatever we want because we are so balanced.
Mm-hmm. Is this where you start scrolling down?
Yes, exactly. Once I see Jerry Jeudy, my first inclination is let's scroll right past that guy and go to someone else. Here's the question. Mm-hmm. We have Lamar. We have Sam Darnold.
Do we need another quarterback?
I mean, at this point, all the good quarterbacks are gone. So it's like, do you do a Jacoby, a Tua, a Shadur? Like, I don't know. But what I was going to ask you is with the Ravens and the Seahawks, there are a lot of late round wide receivers. Mm-hmm. We talked about Horton and Kupp. Mm-hmm. With the Ravens, it's, do you like Bateman? Do you like Surratt? Do you like Jacoby Lane? We could land the plane with a couple of stacked wide receivers here.
How about this? I want Horton over Kupp and you pick the Ravens.
Okay.
I'll go Seattle with. Now look, is Troy about to ruin our day again? Let's see. Nope.
Okay. All right. That works for me here. I think the one thing I'm a little worried about, we do have the coffee sponsor here, Vasileros and Sons with Torrey Horton. I just want to make sure no one thinks I'm accidentally promoting Tim Hortons Canadian coffee brand. So as long as people understand that, I think we're good. So someone did just take Bateman. So let's do Horton first. Lock him up. You in agreement there?
Yep, absolutely.
All right. And I think you mentioned it before, but give us the sell on Torrey Horton here.
If you remember, Pete, last season, the off-season hype on Horton was pretty high. Now, granted, that was before Shaheed was even like an idea or a thought on the team, but it was pretty high. He had a good preseason game. And then I think he was playing mostly injured, still managed to score several touchdowns, had a 50-yard, 2-touchdown performance right before the injury. And then now, you look, they're starting to hype him up again, Pete.
You're right. It was so disappointing when he got hurt because it did seem like he was breaking out. So the fact that he seems to be fully healthy now, getting some buzz. The real question is there room for both these guys, Shaheed and Torrey Horton? And it sounds like you are swinging to the Torrey Horton side.
Well, yeah, it's later ADP, right? But the fact that both of these guys can run, like Shaheed's going to open everything up because everyone's afraid of him. Like, 60-yard touchdown, 70-yard touchdown, absolutely possible. And they didn't even use him for that last season.
Yeah, I know. It was crazy. Okay, so Bateman went. Now the chat, I know you said I get to make the pick. The chat wants Jacoby Lane. Air Jeff goes, trust, bro. Take him, trust.
Let's do it, Air Jeff.
And then Brady says it's Jacoby Lane season. I've been a Surratt guy, but if the chat tells me it's Jacoby Lane season, who am I to argue with them?
I think we're doing Jacoby Lane.
Are we doing it? Okay. All right. I hope they said trust. We're putting a lot of trust in the chat. Should we trust this chat? You've seen some of their behavior today. Do you trust them?
I do.
Okay.
Troy didn't mean it. I don't even know if he's in here, but he didn't mean it.
Yes. Okay. Here's the final squad. 2-5-8-3. Drafting a pit bull here with Cooterdoodle. We have Lamar Jackson and Sam Darnold at quarterback. We have double A-Chan running back strategy along with Jonathan Brooks, Kenny Gainwell, and Brian Robinson. We have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Zay Flowers, Makai Lemon, Matthew Golden, Jalen Coker, Rashid Shaheed, Torrey Horton, Jacoby Lane, and 3 tight ends, Tucker Kraft, Brenton Strange, Terrence Ferguson. Did we chef here? Were we cooking?
I mean, look, the good news is we've got the legs with Lamar. We've got a Super Bowl caliber team with Darnold and all of that stack. Achane is going to be the offense in Miami. The other Achane, I don't know. I'm still not sold on it, but he's probably going to be a big part of the offense in New Orleans. Brooks is a home run hitter. Gainwell's a home run hitter. And if Bucky's not himself, which we saw he wasn't himself coming back from injury last season. So there's some upside here, Pete.
There is. Chat's going wild. Oh, this is you're gonna love this. Crispy says Jacoby Lane is the Ravens' Isaac TeSlaa, non-derogatory.
Okay, wait. I do like that. I knew the chat wouldn't lead me astray. I love that. Okay.
Yeah, I love that for us. Amanda, always a great time syncing up and drafting with you. I know you're getting busy, but if you do want to come back later in August for a BBM draft, I'm all for it. But I know your schedule's tricky, so I get it.
Yep, I gotta get on NFL.com and look at those jerseys all day long, Pete.
Well, what was your last jersey purchase?
The Shaheed Seattle lime green.
Okay, and now are you gonna burn it?
No.
Okay.
Never.
It just seems like you turned your back. And what do people do when they bought jerseys of players they then later turn their back on? I mean, you have to ritually burn it.
No. I'm still a fan. I just won't be drafting.
Okay.
Other than today, obviously, everything I say is only within a vacuum. Okay.
I think everything we did, other than the Jared Goff plan getting blown up, I feel like we cooked here.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we cooked.
Just imagine, though. Imagine if we had gone Goff.
Imagine if we, you know what? I'm going to make a little note on this team. Imagine Goff.
Mm-hmm.
So that
second in touchdowns, second in yards last year.
What we'll do is
he's been disrespected. I'm so disappointed in Torrey, but I also trust that it wasn't on purpose.
So we'll come back. We'll review this team throughout the year. And it seems like what we're destined for is this team to miss the playoffs by just like a few points. And then we go and look and we're like, if we had Jared Goff, then this team would have made the playoffs, and we can shake our fist.
And we put a slow-mo of him just throwing it to Isaac TeSlaa, scoring the final touchdown.
No. Now we're falling back on your default of just being a negative person. No. We do make the playoffs, and it's because Jacoby Lane catches a touchdown 17. In week 14. Oh, week 17.
That's what I meant.
We're going to win the whole
14.
thing. Week 14. Actually, no. Week 14, 15, 16, and 17. And we win all the money. Follow her on Twitter at Cooterdoodle. Anything else that you want the people to check out here?
Yeah. Follow FantasyLife newsletter, Company Woman, support the Saints. If you can manifest anything, Tyler Shuck, QB 1 year. That's about it. Love it.
What about one more Saints take on your way out? Is it still Jawan Johnson's season, or do you have to be worried about Oscar Delp?
I'm still in on Jawan. I have faith. I think we're making moves. Kellen Moore has been very like, this is what I want and what I don't want. And I'm feeling good about what we have right now. I'm hopeful for the first time in like 3 years.
Okay.
And I'm ready to get hurt again.
That's a scary place to be. Once you get that hope, what are you gonna, if you were gonna buy tickets, a la carte, because you famously sold your season tickets?
We already have. We'll be there for the Raiders game. We're going to be there for the Minnesota game.
Okay.
So that's the two on deck right now. One of them, nice seats. One of them, nosebleed.
Nice seats for Raiders?
Yeah. Opener. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. There we go. Brock Bowers, Genty there, front row for Cooterdoodle. That sounds fun.
And the dome on opening night, like, it's going to be fun.
It's electric. Yeah. And while all the hope is still in the air, and you guys should be able to beat the Raiders. You can take care of that. Do it.
We win the ones we shouldn't, and we lose the ones we should not.
Andrew says Saints have the second easiest schedule, so why not now? Why not us?
Mm-hmm.
Why not us? Well, Amanda, feel free to bill me for whatever medical bills you incurred from your 5-degree burns trying to attempt a coffee cup to coffee cup coffee pour.
All right, Pete. Thank you, chat. We'll see how Lane does.
All right. Good seeing you,
Later.
Amanda. And we will catch you around the Fantasy Life water cooler. We're going to have Ben Gretch coming by here in a second to draft. We do have the special Wednesday edition of Best Ball Breakfast. We're going to have these for the rest of August up until the season starts every Monday and Wednesday, 10 a.m. drafting teams. Monday will be the usual block. We'll have Sam Sherman, we'll have Levitan, we'll have Pat Corain, but we're going to cycle through some fresh faces and guests over here on the Wednesday edition. If you guys ever have any guest requests, feel free to leave them in the comments. Also, another thing that would be great to leave in the comments, I think this week for the P.O. Box newsletter, that's my personal newsletter. I write it once a week. I think I'm going to do like a Q&A, FAQ, AMA, whatever you want to call it, from So You Think You Can Tout. There's always a ton of frequently asked questions I've gotten, so I'm going to try to round some of those up and do a little bit of a post on those. So after the show, if you guys have any clocks or any questions that you'd like me to answer about the show, drop them in the comments and I will try to hit those in an upcoming newsletter post on Friday. But without further ado, there he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Ben Gretch. Welcome to Best Ball Breakfast.
Was I holding you up? I'm sorry.
No, you weren't.
I had a little bit of a panic attack a few minutes ago because I was deep in my, like, anyone who reads the newsletter knows I do the real stream of consciousness writing. I was deep in my flow state, and then I looked down the clock and I was like, "Oh crap! Did I hold Pete up?" Then I had a little bit of a panic for a moment, thinking I had missed you. But as you know, I'm famously a terrible scheduler. My strategy of just hoping that I'll come out of the flow state in time to figure it out, it hasn't failed me yet. It didn't fail me here either. I think I'm on time.
It is. I miss that. I only get that feeling every once in a while. It was a couple weeks ago when I was working on So You Think You Can Tout, and I needed some time on the weekend to do it. And Lauren was like, go do your thing. And I had that moment where I just was like looked up or whatever, but like so much of my schedule now, it's like, you know, you got this thing at this time. So I don't get to get in that flow state. But I know for you too, with all your writing, it is a really good feeling to have everything wash away and just be cranking on something you're enjoying.
Right. That's the way that I do everything. But yeah, when we used to work together more, we would talk about the scheduling stuff some. And I was always so envious that you've gotten so good at your scheduling and able to navigate your time that way. Because you're certainly way more productive in that way. I did. We would chat about Atomic Habits, which you've talked a lot about.
Oh yeah.
I got this for. It's right here. I got it. For,
nice.
I think Father's Day this year, the family, because I've talked about it a little bit and been like, I need to read that finally. Pete read it. Leone read it. My brother talks about it a bunch. So anyway, that's coming up for me. Maybe I'll learn how to schedule someday.
Now it's a chicken or the egg situation because you need the Atomic Habit to help you read Atomic Habit.
The book. That's exactly right. I'm 4 years behind. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, excited to draft with you. Now, I've been given guests a choice. I've been drafting pit bulls today just because a time box contest, but I also always love swinging for the fences for BBM with you. So do you want a better chance of winning in a smaller contest or swing for the millies with BBM?
I don't care. Whatever you prefer. Whatever you're wanting to rip. We've had some good luck in the past, and I think we'll do fine either way.
We can balance it out today. Let's flip the script back over to a BBM here. One more if you want to join. I believe this will be my 107th or maybe 108th BBM draft. Yeah, I've basically been just trying to pace myself a little bit because I'm ahead of pace. But I mean, Gretch in the saddle. We got to take some swings here.
Oh, the 103. This is going to be fun. I like the front of drafts. Yeah, I'm excited.
I know we talked a little bit on ship chasing the other day. Did you get in any slow drafts right now? Or are you still rocking? Okay, good.
No, I mean, both from a time perspective and just from a desire perspective to be on the clock constantly with the slows. And like, I'm busy. And last year I entered a bunch in Miami when I was down there with you. And, you know, people were sitting on the clock, obviously, because you have the training camp news and everything. And then eventually ran into the slower clocks. and it was just a disaster August for me when I'm trying to do all my writing and all my work to like be worried about slows. I was auto picking. I don't like the slows. I like the fast. I can't do the fast here, so I haven't done a ton of the drafts. But I always love drafting with you because you're the absolute best at stacking and correlation and all of these things. So we're gonna be fine. I'm gonna throw you some player takes. You're gonna figure everything else out.
Is Chase your clear 103 or are you Puka? I want to say I heard you and Sean talking about this spot previously.
I can go either way. I as far as my projections and stuff, like Puka comes out as a guy who looks like he could be the dude that just absolutely gaps the position. And so
yeah.
I kind of I'll probably rank him wide receiver 1 for managed leagues, but certainly for best ball and portfolio and stuff, like taking Chase 3. I mean, Chase is right there with him. It's obviously a clean play.
Yeah, I mean, we were even just doing wide receiver tiers with Dwayne the other day, and I asked, like, are you even format specific? The full point PPR with maybe Puka over half point Chase, and he's like, I just think they're kind of like interchangeable, even across different scoring formats there. So we'll grab Chase here, but yeah, certainly not a wrong answer.
No,
are there any
Chase? My argument this year with Chase has been that he's a better pick this year than he was last year when he was a consensus 101, because what we saw last year was even without Burrow, he still had an elite, like that's what you want from your elite number 1 wide receivers, is the guys that can produce in every single way, at every depth, ball in hand, and in every situation. He's playing with backup quarterbacks, and he continued to be a massive volume hog, very productive, led the NFL in targets again, despite not having his main quarterback for most of the year. I mean, that should give you a lot of faith going into this year that Ja'Marr Chase is still like an absolute elite alpha, everything you want in a fantasy wide receiver.
For sure. Are there any guys that you would, like, if you could put your thumb on the scale in round 1 and be like, I would love to be, overweight, with the thought being like, hey, you generally want exposure to a lot of these guys. Who is the one that you're like, I would like to put my chips all in on them this season?
Well, it's clearly Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah.
I have Gibbs in his own tier above everyone else. And like, I think it's the Jahmyr Gibbs year. I've compared it to like when LaDainian Tomlinson in the 2000s was a guy where like, when I was playing fantasy then, if you got the 101, it felt like, or if you didn't get the 101, it felt like you were behind the 8 ball. Like he's going to just dominate the league. I think it was 2006 where he was a clear 101 and he still he won all the leagues. Like he was like, this is stupid. Fantasy football's not even fun. Priest Holmes was that way, I think in 2003. I believe Marshall Faulk right at the beginning of when I was starting fantasy was that way in like the 2001 era. We haven't had a good stretch of 101 results over the last several years. I would argue Gibbs is an irregular 101. McCaffrey's obviously the highest scorer from last year, but he's older, so he goes a little later. And Bijan's the one whose profile really spiked last year and started the offseason as that like 101 off of a spike year. Gibbs is the one, like our market has gotten smarter. Gibbs is the 101 now because he's this guy that people are seeing is ascending. This is the Gibbs season. This is the year where the workload takes off, where a lot of things can really come together for him. I mean, I'm going to play some auctions this year just so I can overspend on Gibbs and make sure I have enough Jahmyr Gibbs.
That is the beauty of the auction format there. We start with Ja'Marr Chase. Back into round 2 is always kind of interesting. A lot of those running backs are often gone, and then you're kind of looking at some of these wide receiver options, although we'll see here, Kenneth Walker oddly sliding in this draft. If Derrick Henry's here, you had some funny lines about him on the Establish the Edge podcast and being like, yeah, I'm not going to do it, even though I project him for a ton of touchdowns. So let's see how we handle this at 210.
Yeah, I really like AJ Brown here as well. But I mean, yeah, Brown goes. I don't like taking Henry.
I want the Gretch take.
My take's Malik Nabers. My take is Malik Nabers.
Okay, I want the real take. There's no my portfolio is not, my portfolio is already just this weird Frankenstein thing from everybody I draft with. So let's draft the best possible Ben Gretch team here right now.
Malik Nabers looked awesome. He should be a clear first rounder if he's healthy. I don't know that he's definitely going to be healthy, but they have an offense that looks like it's going to do some of the 2 tight end stuff that will get you into the 2 wide receiver sets like that. Who's this year's JSN thing? It's Malik Nabers. That's the only guy who's as good as JSN that is also going to have the structural stuff where like he could have 40% of his team's receiving yardage like JSN did last year. Nabers should be going even higher. People have moved him up to the 2-3 turn, but if he's as healthy as he looks, he should be at the 1-2 turn at minimum, basically. I mean, he's a superstar. So anyway,
Chase Nabers on the same team is very fun. Back on the clock, ADP order: Devonta Smith, McBride, Brees, Olave, Flowers, and Buka, Kyron.
It's McBride or Brees, depending on what you think structurally we need to do.
I think it's fun to rip a 0 RB build here.
Okay, let's do
try it?
McBride. I really like Brees too, but I really like McBride too, so we're good.
Yeah, let's grab McBride there. I mean, yeah, McBride, he kind of has a swingy ADP now. People get, worried, obviously, about the kind of overall team situation and the quarterback stuff. Where are you at on that as far as, like, what does late season Carson Beck mean for McBride?
I just think McBride's so good. They were 3-14 last year. I mean, I think the team stuff's overplayed. His ADP last year was like 25. He's going later this year after one of the greatest tight end seasons of all time. All we got last year was more confirmation that Trey McBride's a superstar and more confirmation that Marvin Harrison's probably not that good. Like Trey McBride, I was working through my tight end tiers yesterday, and I'm really high on Loveland, and my Loveland projection comes out close to McBride. He has a higher ADOT, so even though I have McBride for more volume, you get more like yards per target and touchdown efficiency and a better offense. And I had to bring McBride's touchdown rate way down because the market hates Arizona's offense and all those things. And the late season Beck stuff is a concern too. But as I'm writing it up, I'm like, I'm not going to make a mistake of being out on a player that is an absolute superstar where the market in 2026 bakes these things in. He's going cheaper than he was last year off a career season. When you fade this when it goes up to like 106, like when Kelsey after 20, Kelsey after 2022 was going like 106. He gapped the entire position last year by 100 points. Like sometimes we don't just talk about fantasy points enough. This guy was an absolute star last year, better than every other tight end by a mile, and we're going to act like he doesn't have ceiling because of quarterback, because his team's bad. They were 3-14 last year. I know it's a whole different offense, all that stuff, but he did what he did last year on a 3-14 team. Like they were doing it in garbage time, they were doing it whatever. I don't want to be out on Trey McBride, who I think is one of the like legendary tight ends of this generation.
Do you feel similar? I'd written in the Fantasy Life newsletter a few weeks ago, thinking through the Jeremiah Love stuff, and I'm like, isn't this just the ultimate blessing in disguise that he didn't go to a slightly better situation? We had to pay the 107, 108 for him. Obviously, the McBride stuff you're talking about is like there's the proven track record, so it's always a little different with a black box rookie. But do you feel similarly about Love being a discount, or do you feel like he's priced fairly here in this range?
I think he's probably priced more fairly because I think the running back is tied more to the team stuff, right? Like you need the touchdown ceiling, and I don't think you need that as much with McBride. Obviously, it was helpful last year, but like garbage time pass volume and target volume is something that I'm looking forward to with McBride. I mean, it won't be as extreme as last year. He ran more routes last year than anyone in the any tight end ever in the PFF database by a lot, by like 50, 70, 80 routes or something. Probably the most tight end routes of all time. He's going to regress in those ways, but I don't think it's as correlated to team level stuff because of some of the stuff that happened last year. As an example, Love's stuff is maybe a little bit more correlated to the team level things, but and also just like whether they use the other backs and stuff is a little concerning. McBride can just dominate the other pass catchers. He's going to run routes, like all that, it's more in his control, but I'm pretty optimistic about Love too. I mean, I'm not out on him or anything.
So Etienne has been sliding all morning. I guess this is just like the Kamara stuff. He goes. I mean, this feels like a Burden pick if I know you.
Yep. Yeah, it's Burden. McLaurin is a great pick. Loveland's a great pick here, but I like Burden a lot here.
What is your I do want to talk about Burden, but I am curious. One of the things I think people think through as well with passing on McBride is like, oh, I can just get Loveland mid to late fourth. Do I prefer that price? And that might be why McBride's sliding a bit as well.
And
let's make this pick. Yeah. Montgomery, Adams, Jamo, Hendo, Quinshon Judkins, Lamar, Bucky. Who catches your eye in this range?
So I'm really high on Jameson Williams this year. These other running backs are interesting, but we are kind of going 0 RB. You don't want to just pull out of that too early. If Williams slides through, he's a guy. Oh, no. So I think maybe it is running back. I think it's maybe, probably in my stuff, it would be Judkins, or it'd probably be Judkins.
Okay,
but I think Montgomery's a decent play in best ball. But yeah, let's do Judkins. Oh, Montgomery's fine too. Yeah,
sorry, I toggled it at the
good.
last section.
I think he's a good anchor running back for this build. I think he's going to get a ton of work. You look at what Joe Mixon did as a free agent add to the Texans 2 years ago. There was that report they were going to use Woody Marks 50-50, or it was more like a beat reporter speculating, and I just don't think that there's a lot of validity to that. And Woody Marks really, really struggled as a runner last year. They brought in Montgomery. Montgomery's definitely going to get the goal line work. This is a good defense. They're going to stay ahead of game script. They're going to give Montgomery volume. In best ball, like this type of a player, if he stays healthy, can be a really key piece to this kind of a build. Our upside isn't Chase, Nabers, McBride, all that.
Yes.
But obviously having Montgomery is helpful.
In Montgomery is kind of like the ultimate in this spot, best ball versus redraft conversation, right? Where what the floor of production that Montgomery gives you can supercharge these high-end pass catchers and get a team to the sprint. Whereas in manage, you're probably looking for a slightly bigger swing. You might be more open to those year two backs, the Judkins, the Tutons, obviously. Talk to me about Judkins. I've struggled with him. I've taken him when I can get him out of value. I took him in pros versus Joes when I needed a running back. I have the typical concerns anyone would have, bad offensive line, shaky quarterback play, pass catching threat, and Samson. Why should I be more open to Judkins here?
I mean, mostly it's I'm gonna give Siegel the deference here. He's just like gotten me a little bit more excited about Judkins by talking about him as the clear best player on the offense, and they're gonna have to build the offense around him. They're gonna have to get him the ball. Some of the peripherals and some of the numbers for him last year were not strong, but the offense was really bad. Their quarterback plays so bad. You have kind of the Jeremiah Love issue as well, where it's like he could get dragged down by that. But I do think, from a talent perspective, his profile was good, and he looked good last year. Like I was writing about him favorably in Stealing Signals, and when I talked about it in some of my offseason stuff, I was kind of surprised that his peripherals were where they were, kind of a little bit lower than you'd expect with some of the stuff. But some of that's like similar to the Genty stuff, where like if you're getting contacted in the backfield every single time, like your rate of per touch, broken tackles and things like that is a little bit trickier. So I'm into him. I think when you're in the dead zone, you want to think about these young players that we don't know who they really are yet. The potential that they could be a round 1 or round 2 pick next year. Like Sean and I like to do that on the Stealing Bananas podcast every year, projecting next year's first and second round. These types of year 2 guys, TreVeyon Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, Cam Scatabo, that are going in the dead zone are the kinds of guys that traditionally are the ones that can hit out of the dead zone, where we just learned they're a good enough player that they should have been drafted in rounds 1 or 2, and going forward they're drafted in rounds 1 or 2. But Judkins has some tough team situational stuff. I like that for best ball. I like that Montgomery is this locked in lead back on a good offense that's going to get a lot of volume.
So I think someone just got star method because a Carnell Tate drafter took Wan'Dale Robinson at pick 66. We have a wall of quarterbacks here. Sometimes you can push Burrow to 75 because the Higgins drafter's on the other side, but it's up to you. How would you like to play this here?
Well, I really like Jane Daniels. I don't mind pushing Burrow. Makai Lemon would be my other pick from what I can see in the queue. I really like Makai Lemon, but it feels early. He's been getting pricey.
Let me do Burrow at the last second just to give us kind of flexibility to talk through, since we know we probably want Burrow with one of these 2 picks. And if we didn't have a slam dunk otherwise, I assume you're,
yeah, that's a fine stack. Will you click running back? Yeah.
Yes.
I just wanted to see. Yeah. I don't love this running back range at all. I wanted to see where some of the guys, does Jalen Warren already go before this? Yeah, he
did in this one. Yeah.
Okay.
Warren went early here. Yeah. 64.
And Price is gone. That whole tier of young backs. Price is the other one. That whole tier is gone too. So yeah, that's tricky.
Yeah, and maybe you say you go Daniels and try to do Daniels and Burrow just because this range is pretty flat. But I was pretty confident Lemon would make it back here.
If he doesn't, click wide receiver for me real quick.
Yeah, and this is a spot I think you can pull somebody up here. I mean, this is a flat tier here at wide receiver.
So Lemon made it through, and I really like him when we already have Chase and Nabers and Burden. You're less dependent on him to be like a huge volume hog, but to me, he's the best wide receiver in this class from an analytical perspective. I think he's really good. He kind of checks all the boxes.
Even over Tyson?
Over Tyson and Tate. Okay. So Tyson has some concerns with the health stuff, but also some concerns with the ball in hand. Lemon's really good ball in hand, and they used him as in the return game and stuff. Like some of his test at athleticism is concerning people, but if you, I mean, you also watch him. He's really good with this ball in hand. He's one of these classic guys that I'm not worried about the test at athleticism at wide receiver really ever, but like you can see that he's a quicker player on film than what, how he tested. He's going to be fine. And then that ball in hand stuff shows up. The like evasion rate, the forced missed tackles, the yards after the catch per reception is better than both Tyson and Tate. And then he earned a ton of volume at all depths. He was very efficient after the target was earned, like yards per target efficiency and that stuff. And he got better each year. 3-year early declare, got better each year. Like checks every box that I want in a prospect profile. And Tyson checks a ton of them too. And Tate maybe fewer, but to me, Lemon was just better than those guys. And the Eagles are a team that really identifies that stuff well analytically, and they traded up 3 spots to make sure they could get ahead of Pittsburgh, who famously was on the phone with Lemon to make sure they could get him. Like there's some signal there that a really well-run organization that understands talent stopped his slide at 20. I think people are too focused on draft capital when you're like, that 20 was probably should have been 15 or 12, I mean, like he shouldn't have gone that late.
Any concern? I feel like the main knock on him right now is just that recent injury, and it's just like, man, do we get this slow start for this guy? Any concern about that?
I hadn't even really heard a lot about that. Is it a bad injury? I don't think.
Yeah, I don't. It said, they say Eagles say Devonta Smith and Makai Lemon hamstring injury is not serious. It's just always like you get a little spooked with the rookies who you want to get off to a fast start. You worry about them with like, are we going to get a bunch of Hollywood Brown bullshit to start the season and ease him in? But yeah, the late season thesis for him is awesome. Here's the squad: Chase, Nabers, McBride, Burden, Montgomery, Burrow, Lemon. About to pick here in the back end of round 8. Pierce, Hubbard, Dowdle, Godwin, Laporta, Michael Wilson, Mahomes.
Will you click running back? Yeah, I just want to check out those running backs.
Chuba, the 11 pick slider, Dowdle, slight slider. Then you're into Monangai, Dobbins, Gainwell, Rashad White.
So I have Chuba as a fade. He lost his job last year, and we have Jonathan Taylor there. I do like Dowdle. I like Dowdle as a discount play off Warren in a similar spot. They caught a ton of balls last year, Pittsburgh. Backs. Obviously this is half point PPR, but I like Kenneth Gainwell vacates 85 targets from this backfield. Aaron Rodgers is not going to be chucking the ball downfield. His running backs tend to be productive players. I also like Monangai. I'm fine taking stabs at J.K. Dobbins. It's tougher in best ball where if Dobbins does get hurt, you can't replace him. But we're getting a lot of potential veteran fragility, but also like discounted to their role, like that Josh Jacobs from several years ago thesis, with I think both Montgomery and Dowdle in a landscape where that kind of profile gets a little discounted, and I think is very playable in best ball. So I think Dobbins might even be another fun guy to add to this build, but I like probably going running back here.
Yeah, the only other consideration would be if you liked Dart with Nabers. This is probably the last. So it's like Dobbins. I think Dobbins, though, like you said, the running back stuff gets pretty.
Unless you're really into Monangai, I would rather go RB here.
Let's do it.
I don't want to be pushing RB really, really late. So we're stacking a lot of injury risk here, but if we do stay healthy, I feel very comfortable about our cost adjusted running back, like volume and projection. Dobbins is going to be the lead rusher. Like he was their priority above all else to sign in free agency and bring back and all of those things. They're going to use him if he can stay healthy. He's probably not going to, but if he can, and even while healthy at the 903, he's going to be a strong contributor to our regular season. Could be an advanced rate player, right? I think it's helpful. Now we can take some swings later on some intriguing upside running backs. I saw one of the names in the chat that you and I have talked about as well that I'm going to be interested in.
For sure. Yeah, and going back to the Rico stuff, you guys had some awesome nuggets on that Establish the Edge series when you guys were talking about the Steelers, because I think there is the tendency, myself included, to like pigeonhole Rico into this early down grinder role. Obviously, you're hoping for some goal line stuff there, but like this team throws a ton to the running backs, as you guys highlighted, and Rico has that in his bag. He's not just a limited 2-down guy. So that gives you a lot of confidence that if he's going this far after Warren, we got him literally 30 picks after Warren. It sounds like you think that gap should be much, much tighter.
I do think it should be tighter. I really like Warren too, and I have Warren a tier above Dowdle in my rankings, and I have Warren as a target, and I don't have Dowdle as a target. But it's a surprising gap to me because people really like Dowdle. I've never really been that in on Dowdle. Mike McCarthy has a familiarity with Dowdle back to Dallas. He had a huge season under McCarthy, and can do all three down stuff. And so like I think they're both undervalued. I think the Pittsburgh backfield collectively is undervalued for. I always talk about the high-value touches stuff. This is a team that's going to project for a ton of team high-value touches, a ton of targets, a ton of volume. Not only did Kenneth Gainwell have 85 targets last year, six guys had 85 plus. It's like 5 guys that are going in the top 2 rounds and Kenneth Gainwell. There was only one other guy who had more than 60 targets in the entire league. That was Genty, who fit in between there. And then Warren was at 45. So he was not far from that like next tier of running back targets as the team running back 2 in target volume last year. The 2 of Gainwell and Warren combined for 130 running back targets. There's a ton of volume there. I mean, if one of them misses and the other one, because like Caleb Johnson's still your number 3. That guy can't play on pass downs. I think Aaron Rodgers hates him. Like, I don't know. I think the Dowdle thesis is very clear. He's a fine pick, especially again in best ball. One of these stable RB volume guys.
Almost about to be back on the clock. I know we've talked a little bit about Golden previously. Do you like him here? Anything else you notice?
No, let's grab him. He feels like the last of a tier there at wide receiver. I'm pretty excited about him and that talk that he's going to run some of the Wicks routes and some of those intermediate routes. Do we need to go QB in this range?
Yeah, so looking at our stuff here, I mean, obviously Love would make a ton of sense after we just clicked Golden. Other options here would be kind of like naked options. I mean, with Burrow, I think we have a little room here. I mean, if you pushed, like maybe Stroud comes around to our next turn, if you like the Stroud, Montgomery, and a backstack there. I would say Love is a smash for us. Otherwise, we could probably be patient. What do you think?
I would love that. I was asking about Love and we get Love back. I think we got to do it, right? Yeah,
dude, look at this. So we get Golden 10 picks past ADP. We needed him. We both like him. Looking at that second quarterback, you then get Love 10 picks past ADP stacked up. I mean, you can't draw it up any better than that.
You really can't. That feels great because that's also the last QB. I mean, Mayfield, maybe Shuck, but like you're getting into that drop off. I think right around QB 20 this year, there's a significant drop off, and all the options like up to QB 20 are intriguing. I think it's like for redraft leagues. I think for your home league, I think it's a good year for late round quarterback because like all these dudes that go in this range are interesting. Stafford and Goff going in the previous round. Stafford, like I make the comparison to Baker Mayfield last year. He was coming off the pass TD spike in 2024. We talk about pass TD rate as a stat that can regress. The guy who has the pass TD rate spike usually gets like pushed way up. Baker last year, coming off that in 2024, was going like QB8. Stafford's the guy who had it last year, and he's not going. You're getting him super cheap, and they're projected to score the most points in the league again this year by look at headlines. Like he's the guy that's going to have the pass TD spike again, probably. Jared Goff going in this range. Bo Nix is a great way to play that into a Denver offense that I think is underrated, but is hard to play in the skill positions. Kyler, you can make the bet on. I don't know what to think of Kyler with all the fun out of camp and all that stuff. But Purdy, like one Sam Sherman $2 million, right? Like Purdy had the incredible run down the stretch last year, won people all sorts of fantasy leagues. There's so many good options in these ranges. Herbert is going in round 8 here. Cam Ward going in round 8 is a little bit of a surprise. We got the star method guy.
This star method. That's like, at what point is the star method just being drunk? This is a wild draft. Shady Advice is in here. He got Amon-Ra, then Genty came back to 17, which hasn't happened a ton here. So we're getting some funky stuff here. But Gretch, I love this build. We got the 2-3-5-1, Burrow and Love both stacked up. We have Montgomery, Rico, Dobbins. So getting those carries there to make sure this team gets to the sprint. Jamar Chase, Nabers, Burden, Makai Lemon, Golden. Super fun wide receiver room. And then McBride holding it down at tight end.
Yeah, feel really good about that. You asked about the Loveland thing earlier too. We didn't circle back to. Yeah, that was part of why. Like, I do think probably Breece Loveland is the more comfy way to play that as far as a 2v2 versus McBride Burden, because like Loveland, I have Loveland projected for more volume than Burden straight up, and he's a tight end. So I'm really optimistic about Loveland as well. And so that's, the big question when you are taking McBride is I do have Loveland in the same tier. And if Loveland can come all the way back to you, then structurally it makes some sense to make those decisions. But I mean, again, I don't want to be out on McBride. And there are always scenarios where guys that are really good players wind up, impact. You don't want to just you want to vary your builds and mix things up. You don't want to just play it one way. So anyway, this is a really fun build the way it's worked out. What are we? I mean, I feel like we got to get into running back a little bit. Yeah. I don't like taking the late running backs.
Yeah. So it's would you be open to a Woody and Montgomery team?
No. I just wanted to know if Keaton Mitchell had gone, but yeah, he has. Oh, he went just a little bit ago in this round.
I know there was this running back run here. C-Rod, Mitchell, all those guys. So we are on the clock here. Travis, it's probably honestly a wide receiver and then figuring out running back after this. Okay. Do you like Hunter, Cooper, Stribling?
They're all fine to me. What is there a correlation? I know you really like Hunter. I would love to get Hunter on a team with you. I have him. Yeah, I'm going to rank him favorably in this range. I think he's a fun add to this build, similar to Lemon, where you're adding profiles. You're adding like good collegiate profiles, upside profiles. And I mean, Golden isn't necessarily the same profile. He's a little bit of a different bet, but guys that can really hit your lineup with spike weeks. I mean, I feel like this receiver room is like almost done.
No, I agree. And so with the running backs being wiped, I almost feel like we grab a tight end we like here. Strange, Gadsden, Henry, Jawan Johnson.
I'm fine with all those. Gadsden, the stuff has been scaring me. It would have been Gadsden a minute ago, but maybe like Gadsden.
Strange? Let's do Gadsden. Yeah. I mean, he's what's scaring you about him? Just like all the big tight end personnel stuff.
All the talk about like McDaniel, like Pat Thorman tweeted this morning. McDaniel had some quote somewhere that talked about every skill position player, but didn't mention Gadsden. I've seen some stuff that is referencing that. Like the specific fit for Gadsden in like McDaniel's wants tight ends that block. Somebody sent me something about like when McDaniel took over the Dolphins, Mike Gesicki's last year, the year before McDaniel was really good, and then Gesicki had like no role, and so it's like that because Gadsden can't block, he's gonna have like a really reduced year 2 role. And tight end stuff is just weird. Like that stuff does actually kind of bother me. Like tight end usage does. At the same time, like from a profile-based perspective, Oronde Gadsden at this point, like we're getting such a discount. He was going like tight end 8 or tight end 9 early in the offseason. And this mid-range of tight ends, there's a lot of questionable profiles through all these rounds. The fact that we get a year 2 player who had a really good rookie season, an efficient rookie season, coming off that in an ascending offense with a good, like an upgraded coordinator. Like, what if Mike McDaniel actually wants to use him? My initial thought this offseason was that he was a good, like, pattern matching fit for how McDaniel used Darren Waller last year. He got some good stuff out of Waller once he got Waller active and in the offense. He was using him as like this vertical tight end into interesting spaces. I don't know that Gadsden's routes are going to be massive, but I guess I'm a little concerned that like he would have just no role. But if he's out there running routes, I'm very confident he's good. He had a good prospect profile. He was good as a rookie. He'll be efficient. He'll score some touchdowns. He's a fine tight end too. Like this is not expensive.
It's not. And if, part of the worry too, like the reason I think there was a little bit of concern about even Ladd's price heading into this year is like down the stretch last year, Ladd was not separating from Gadsden and QJ and even Trey Harris from like a market share of receiving yards perspective. If this offense does end up being spread out, like you could have guys like Ladd be a pretty decent miss at his price. And then the cheap guys who are closer in target share being the smashes here. So, I've been wanting to play the Chargers through the cheap guys, obviously have come around on Keaton Mitchell here, Gadsden. I understand the concern where it's like Keaton Mitchell's getting talked up left and right by McDaniel and the Gadsden stuff isn't quite there, but I'm with you on a build like this and paired with McBride where you already have that rock solid floor ceiling combo. It feels good.
Yeah, people are down on him and for good reasons, but his price is down. You can't just like ignore that you're getting a discount to what he actually is. And like a lot of the chat are like, oh, here's all the reasons, here's the FUD. Like, yeah, there's FUD on Gadsden. That's why we're getting him in the 13th round or whatever we just did. That's way too late for what his profile is, frankly.
All right, let's get some running backs here. Sharps, Brian Robinson, Jaden Blue, Ray Davis, Marshawn Lloyd, Sean Tucker. You got a favorite here?
Let's do the Lloyd thing. I know it's aggressive against ADP. That's
No,
got to
we
be
need
where
running
the
back.
upside is right now. Yeah, and we have Love, we have Golden, and I think like the optimism from camp, Lloyd's profile is stellar. It's like a discount Jeremiah Love profile in terms of the collegiate stuff, the evasion rate, and all that stuff that he did in college. It's slightly lower than Jeremiah Love across the board, but it's really, really strong.
Are you buying like Sharps being back sooner rather than later? I also like
went.
Jaden Blue here. He goes Brian Robinson, Jaden Blue.
Blue or Ray Davis would be my, or Emmett Johnson would be kind of the names that I would look at here. Any of them is fine.
Let's do Blue just because there's a chance we could get those other guys hang around in drafts a little bit more. I think I forget what, maybe it was Monday. I did a Lloyd Blue pairing. Like those are two of my favorite late round, zero RB targets.
I miss the live stream stuff, dude. And you know me, I got antenna ears for the chat, but like dude is 23 and last season he had a 164 1. Is that a Gadsden comment?
That's a Gadsden. That's a Gadsden comment.
I thought that was Lloyd's full season numbers.
No.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, no, that's good.
No, what's funny, back on the Gadsden thing, I actually had just seen this take from Nez on Twitter. I guess this was this morning. He goes, there will be studies done on the fading of a second-year tight end who had a stretch of 768, 164 1, 577 1, 568 last year, was lauded by his head coach before he even took an NFL snap and received a massive OC upgrade, all because a fifth-year tight end with 41 targets is in the room. So you can spin it both ways for sure. And then, of course, Davis with the Kohler Bear gif in the
amazing. Amazing. No, I mean the Gadsden price is it's a matter of price. It's already baked in. You can tell me all the negatives you want, but I'm not. I mean, the chat here says he should not go over Hunter Henry. I have him ranked slightly ahead of Henry in my redraft rankings. In best ball, I could see why you would have Henry a little higher. Henry's more of a routes consolidator. The other guys I was looking at there were Sadiq, who's a really nice upside play, and Juwan Johnson was third among all tight ends in receiving yardage last year and consolidated routes. And that's what we should care about right now at the tight end position. All these teams that are using more tight ends, it's not actually making the position a lot better for fantasy if they're splitting up routes between the different tight ends on the teams. The teams that are actually willing to consolidate routes are pretty interesting. Now, I know the Saints added both Noah Fant and Oscar Delp and may cut Juwan Johnson's routes back, but the fact that he's the incumbent who ran a ton of routes last year and had 850 plus receiving yards and had this really strong year last year, I think he's pretty underpriced. He was the main one, Juwan Johnson, as far as a veteran, but we have McBride, and I was like, I kind of like the Gadsden play as a like McBride carries you to the postseason. Gadsden maybe has a spike week in weeks 15 to 17. He definitely has that in him. So I'm pretty stoked about getting him.
Yeah. And one other, would you be interested in Gesicki as a third tight end on this team with Burrow, or do you think we probably shut it down with McBride and Gadsden?
Fair question. I probably would shut it down, but I'm not great at the structural stuff. I'm not super into Gesicki, but I mean, the stack stuff makes sense, obviously.
Yeah. No, I think we kind of, because we're built so balanced here, 2-5-6-2, two good quarterbacks, two solid tight ends. We're up to 5 running backs now, and we have that solid base of wide receivers. I do think we have pretty good flexibility here. Both of the guys we mentioned before at running back are still kicking around. I say that, Davis comes off.
Emma Johnson. I think, right?
Or
were we going to say something else?
No. I didn't have anyone else that I had to have, and I'm kind of curious. I haven't really thought about Emmett Johnson a lot. Where are you thinking about him?
Another profile that Siegel really likes. He's the GOAT at prospect analysis. He's also always too high on Chiefs prospects. So there's this intersection of Siegel loves the Chiefs and always thinks that their prospects are the best. But there's Demercado is like a clear pass down back. He basically only played in shotgun situations and ran against light boxes and stuff last year. There's not, and then Brashard Smith, they didn't want to expand. There's not really a backup to Kenneth Walker that can do everything other than Emmett Johnson. So I like him to be sort of the handcuff for early down work. I think he's a fine pick there. Are you thinking on the way back here?
What would you, is there a spot you want? Like if you have a deep wide receiver, if you want to grab another running back, you can do the Gesicki thing.
Let's do Sean Tucker.
Yeah.
Can you get to him?
Yeah. So now we get this really, it does lean back into that zero RB build where we have the 3 kind of volume guys up top, Montgomery, Rico, and Dobbins, and then we take big swings on Lloyd, Blue, Emmett Johnson, and Tucker.
That's sort of what I was thinking, right? With the Emmett Johnson pick as well, is because we had David Montgomery, Dobbins, and these guys. Those guys are going to help us through your chaperones, if you will. And Dowdle hopefully is the whole year. But like the potential for Montgomery or Dobbins to be guys who get hurt is concerning to me. But now we have guys that have spike week potential late season. Emmett Johnson's a guy that could be spiking late week. Marshawn Lloyd, certainly. Josh Jacobs has had 260 plus touches, whatever it is, every year of his career, has some off-field stuff lingering, had lingering issues with injuries last year, and Emmanuel Wilson had a couple of starts. Chris Brooks is not like a legit running back. He's like a pretty clear third down guy. He's older than you'd think and doesn't have a lot in his profile in terms of, I mean, I'm concerned about the Lloyd health as much as anyone, but if he's healthy, his profile's really strong, and there's no competition for RB2 really on that depth chart with Emmanuel Wilson gone. In my mind, they may add somebody. Like that's the situation where like Trey Benson may wind up there or something, and that would concern me because Trey Benson's got a good profile too. But I really like the way this room shakes out. If Lloyd can stay healthy, I think he's a real upside play. Obviously, the Jaden Blue stuff's been talked about a bunch. Emmett Johnson, Sean Tucker, they're all these types of ceiling swings, like you said, that fit with the early running back stuff that we did. So. And then I don't like to be taking running backs basically after Tucker and Emmett Johnson. This is sort of the end of where they're kind of draftable. You start to run into really bad zero risk. Tucker himself might be some zero risk there. I'd rather push wide receiver to the 18th round. Yeah. Or even another tight end. We do lose Gesicki as an option there. He goes in 17.
That's fine. And like I said, we had that flexibility at the onesies for a two quarterback, two tight end build. Also, this has just been a weird room. Brissett goes 177, Shadur goes 179, Tua goes 181. This has been one of the more drunk BBM rooms, and it did fill when I entered it. So we had a ton of non-badges in here, and then Shady kind of scooping up some of the value as well. So now we can kind of hone in. I do think a final wide receiver, especially if Lemon's a slow start, if Hunter is a slow start, even though we have that rock solid top three, I think probably a seventh wide receiver here makes sense.
Sweet. I would say on that list, I like Ridley. I mean, in the 18th round, Calvin Ridley's a fine pick.
For
Pat
sure.
Bryant. Pat Bryant is definitely a good pick there. Surratt's a good pick. Somebody asked earlier my thoughts on Lane versus Surratt. I like Surratt's profile a lot.
Are you doing the Keenan Allen late round thing on? No,
I don't. I mean, I don't think it's a certainty that he plays. Maybe
I don't either. Yeah. It's just everybody. I mean, it's just we continue to get the rumors to the Colts, the Shane Steichen thing, the Alec Pierce injury, but that's really the only one I've heard.
Why isn't he signed yet? Like they brought in Odell Beckham into Giants camp. Like why? Like these guys are got to be in camp. Like if Beckham's not going to make the team, but like it's by the time it's August 5th, I get a little concerned. I'll just say that. But obviously,
I mean, Ridley at this point is awesome for us.
Yeah, let's take Ridley. Yep.
And I think he is the perfect kind of guy to help us with some of these slow starters. Lemon, Hunter not contributing early. Let's get some of that early season with Ridley. That was a nice value fall for us. Just kind of what this team needed, I think.
It's great. I think there's scenarios. I've expressed some concern to you and to the ship chasing community on like the draft stream about Carnell Tate's immediate high volume role because he had the higher ADOT. He didn't show, when I say checks all the boxes, one of the things that Tate didn't show was a lot of volume earning at the lower depths. Now everyone writes that off as the Jeremiah Smith effect, but I do have some concerns about that immediately translating to the next level, low level, or whether he'll just be more of a deep threat. And then you get into the sacrificial X, conversation, some of those things. Or I don't even know if he plays X. I don't really pay super attention to the different alignments. Maybe it's Ridley that's the X, but Ridley's ADOT's a little bit lower. He was having a really good run with Cam Ward last year for a short stint in the first games of Ward's career, and then got hurt. And anyway, our buddy Siegel, I've referenced him a couple times. He just did he called it a best ball piece, but it was an injury piece, an AI injury piece. Did you happen to see this over at RotoViz at the end of last week? Oh yeah, you got to check it out.
I read his big gorilla targets piece, but I missed the injury one.
So he called it a best ball guide or something, but I laughed when I was texting him. I was like, you couched your entire injury research under a headline about best ball. But the whole article ends up being about injury and work that he's been trying to do with Fable to research injuries. And it's a really fascinating piece. There's some really fascinating conclusions that he draws. One of them is that guys who had injuries the prior season are more likely to get hurt again the next year, obviously. And then one of the things that wide receiver specifically, as I was reading through it, it really hits the Ridley thing. It's like this combination of age plus prior injury starts to become a real problem. And so that makes Ridley a real risk. And I think that's fair. But when you're taking him in the 18th round, I mean, I think he's going to be out there in 3 wide receiver sets with Wan'Dale Robinson and Carnell Tate. I don't think A.O. Manor or DK were particularly good as rookies. They both had 1.02, matching 1.02 yards per out run, not very good. And I think Ridley, Robinson, and Tate is a clear 3 wide receiver set. It'll be interesting to see what they do in 2 wide receiver sets. Maybe Ridley's the one that comes off. People seem to think that. I mean, Wan'Dale Robinson isn't your classic 2 wide receiver set option, and Tate's a rookie, but I do think they'll use Tate as much as possible. He's a top 5 overall pick, but Ridley, if he's out there and healthy, is this veteran presence that has actually played with Cam Ward before and some of these other things that work in his favor. The point I was making about the Siegel thing is there's a potential for re-injury and all that, and maybe that'll be a concern. But if he's not injured, this is an absolute smash to me. I mean, I think he could actually be in the mix to earn, not to lead the team in targets, but to earn real volume, 80 plus targets, 100 targets. And if you can get that in the 18th round, that's huge.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, and it really can make a team like this work. I mean, that's really what you want to do. You want to be taking the big swings on the Lemon, Golden, Hunter, knowing, like 2 of 3 of those might miss. But if you get one massive hit and then you can get it buoyed by a veteran like Ridley late, it can really work. Here's the final squad: 2-7-7-2, an old school classic 0 RB structure here. Burrow in Love, Montgomery, Rico, Dobbins, Lloyd, Blue, Emmett Johnson, and Tucker at running back. Chase, Nabers, Burden, Lemon, Golden, Hunter, Ridley at wide receiver, McBride, Gadsden. This is a fun ass team, dude.
I love this team. I mean, you need a lot to go right for the 0 RB teams, but we're always talking zig with another zag and all that. A lot of people saying 0 RB is dead. You got to take the early running backs. The running back health has been extremely high 2 years running. It's not always that high. One of Siegel's findings was that maybe we've shifted toward an era where there's going to be a little bit more running back health, although that could help us. I mean, that could help the David Montgomery, J.K. Dobbins part of our build. You still have to take good players. We took some really great wide receivers and tight ends early that justify not taking the early running backs. I think people think running back points, I've always said this, people think running back points count for more. That receiver room and those tight ends have the potential to score a ton of points. And if the running backs could just stay healthy enough, if Montgomery and Dobbins and Dowdle can be a pretty good top 3 and the other guys can contribute, I mean, this team could be fine, even if this is a year where, 0 RB isn't great. This is how you build, I think, against the grain of running backs being expensive and still build a coherent team.
Yeah, and it does, like, so much, and myself included, I have gravitated to the 3 quarterback, 3 tight end builds. There's often quarterback value, tight end value, but you realize what kind of juggernaut you can build at running back and wide receiver when you allocate those 2 other bullets there. And I look at the capital spent, like Burrow and Love, both as values, both stacked up, and then McBride and Gadsden, and it's just like you don't have any questions about your ceiling at those onesie positions or feeling exposed there. Like this is a team that you can certainly see having all the elements, and specifically with the running backs. Like, we know the way the 0 RB teams work. We always think back to that team I drafted with Eric that made it all the way to the finals. And it's these guys ping-ponging at various chunks of the season. It's, it could be Rico gives you 4 good weeks and boom, he has done his job. Then you hand off the baton to Jaden Blue, who kicks in, or Emmett Johnson, who kicks in. So when you do the 0 RB, having the quantity really is helpful, just the way this contest works.
Totally. I was thinking of that team as well as we were working through this build and making sure we had the texture to get points at different times. You can be wrong on some of these players, and it can wind up sinking the team, but you do have to get a little bit of luck with it, as you were describing. You have to get a little bit of luck with anything to win one of these big things, but this is the kind of team that could get the right stuff in place at running back, and if it does, everything else is great. I agree with you, though. Like, if there's one major concern, I like the 3 quarterbacks. I like having a third tight end where possible. Now, when you get Trey McBride, I mean, part of the thing about McBride versus Loveland would be that I feel a lot more confident about McBride from a full season perspective. Loveland is a projection forward into his age 22 second season. We sometimes see those second season, I mean, even when they're clean projections forward, we see those second season dips and things not always hit the same way. McBride's a volume hog. He's going to get a lot of work all year long. I feel good about him helping us at floor at tight end for most of the weeks. Gadsden, as we talked about, is going to spring up for some stuff occasionally. But I feel okay with a 2 tight end build with Trey McBride, especially at that cost. Yeah. And the quarterback, I mean, Burrow and Love they both had injury issues. That's a little bit of the concern. But you also run into the thing of, like, who are we going to take late? Like, you do run out of viable quarterbers. Like, we're not going to tack on, like, Shadur Sanders. Like,
he went at 179. He wasn't even an option in this this one. Yeah.
You gotta play the balls it lies. You know, you gotta play the room that you're in. We didn't really have an option to play a third quarterback. We're a little bit fragile there, but they're both stacked up, and I feel really good about both of them.
I feel like we naturally have to end on, we didn't get to really talk about Hunter a lot. This Parker Washington stuff, he's now a 5th round pick. He goes at pick 58 here. Where are you at right now on how you want to play the Jags wide receivers / defensive backs?
I'm mostly staying away from the expensive Jags because of Hunter. Like, because you have this element where one of the things about the crowded receiver rooms that was always favorable in fantasy, we used to talk about this when, like, CeeDee Lamb was young on the Cowboys and they had Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup, and when Chase was young and they had T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, and we had more 11 personnel offenses with these good 3 receiver sets. The idea was, like, the projections wouldn't love the 3 receivers because you had to give strong target shares to 3 good receivers. But if one guy got hurt, somebody could consolidate, or just based on play, somebody could consolidate. What Jamar Chase did that rookie year with the Bengals, he just was a superstar. And it's like, if this guy's a breakout, the young guy's a breakout. And Jacob Sanderson's done some great work on ambiguous wide receiver rooms over at his Substack lately, and that was one of his findings. We talked about it on our new podcast, The Long View, on our last episode. One of his big findings was that those things do tend to consolidate, and they often consolidate around the young player who's a breakout player and some of those things. The Jags, the issue here is that Travis Hunter's a really unique 4th receiver in that even if he's not playing a lot early, if anyone gets hurt, you're just going to scale up Travis Hunter's routes. That's what they're going to do. And that's why I don't mind playing him cheaply and late, is I like the offense, and I think he's a contingency play over all the 3 guys ahead of him because he is a guy that they traded a ton of capital for and took 102, and they want, like, you have that draft capital element. You have that intent to use the player. They want to get production out of him. He wants to play on offense. It's very clear when you read between the lines over the last 2 years, even to the pre-draft stuff. He wants to play on offense more than even some of the teams that were talking about him in the pre-draft, I think, wanted to see him as an offensive player. He's very into it. He's really pushing for it. He wants to be the Ohtani of football. And that's something that, like, is optimistic, because I do think the players that push for these things tend to win out a little bit as well. There is a human element of it. I think that's why, like, Deontay Johnson always got the work, and then eventually teams were just like, we're sick of this guy, and they got rid of him. He was just like, he went from, like, a solid target share to not even existing anymore. Stephon Diggs always gets a target share, even though there's talk that he's a cancer. Like, he demands it, and people so anyway, I think Hunter's gonna get like work just to make him happy, like appeasement work at times, but then also those receivers get hurt. He has contingent upside on any of those 3. And I think it becomes he's the one whose value rises. I think it becomes challenging for any of the other 3 to consolidate and their value to rise in the case of an injury or something. And then, like I said, some of the work Jacob did, finding that the young players are the ones that do tend to consolidate when someone does. A player whose skill set we don't necessarily know enough about yet really breaks out. I mean, he's the youngest player. Like, Brian Thomas is a 3rd-year guy. Parker Washington's been around a little bit longer. Obviously, he was a little bit of a breakout last year, but I think if you're thinking about how to play this ambiguous receiver room, playing it through the cheap guy is a smart way to do it. I don't love playing Hunter in, like, every room, but I think there's spots to take him. When you have Chase and Nabers, you're playing guys that are huge target hogs. I mean, the thing about our first 3 picks is these guys get so many targets. Chase led the league both of the last 2 years. Nabers led the league over Chase in targets per game 2 years ago as a rookie, as a 21-year-old rookie. He only played 15 games, but he had 170 targets as a rookie that year. And then last year he was averaging over 10 per game through the first 3 games. He had 13 and 12 the first couple games, and then he had 7 in week 3, I think, and then he got hurt in week 4 right away. Barely played. But like, this is a dude that, when healthy, Malik Nabers, is a 10 target a game player. He is a massive volume hog. Obviously, we just saw that from McBride last year. He gapped the tight end position by 50 targets over everyone else. Those are huge anchors in best ball, to have that stability week over week. And at wide receiver, I think it frees you up in a major way to add Hunter to your build. Like, I love adding Hunter to this build. Like, he is just this screaming upside play behind all that volume.
For sure. Yeah, I'm with you. And again, like, just to reframe it back to just kind of like historical best ball stuff, like this price for Travis Hunter, 142, where we took him, it's almost identical to, it was rookie year, Ricky Pearsall, who did basically nothing for the whole year and then had one, I want to say, nice game like week 13, 14, and then the huge game week 17 against the Lions where he went off and they were just featuring him. It was like, let's see what we have in Ricky Pearsall here. And he paid off his draft cost in spades because he gave you that spike week there. So it's like double, triple, quadruple counting against Travis Hunter. What you need from him is not what we needed from him last year as a 5th round pick. We needed a lot from him. He didn't give it to us. What you need here is one game where he spikes. He's fully capable of that. And then what Gretch mentioned, you get the league winning smash with the contingent upside. So it's like, this is a contingent running back play in the wide receiver where you're actually really excited about the profile and you have zero questions about the talent if he's thrust into more opportunity, which isn't that the dream contingency thing where it's not like Brian Robinson, we're guessing if Bijan goes down, does he have the juice to really be a hit, or is it a fucking Woody Mark situation? Hunter will smash if 100%. Given that extra opportunity.
I don't do as much best ball content, and I do think a lot of this stuff is really ambiguous and it's tough to figure out. I think you do it as well as anyone, and our buddy Pete and Pat, you're Pete, the P names. You guys do it as well as anyone, but the things that I believe about best ball and truly believe, I think we did really well in this draft with. And Hunter is one of those examples. And the reasons you're talking about that certainty of the handcuff element, I think sometimes people take guys that are very uncertain plays late and are very high likelihood to be zeros at too high of a rate. And then the element of like, it could be anyone or it could be this kind of guy. Well, it's usually the like really great profiles. And as you were just talking through that, like Pearsall was a 1st round draft capital guy. Maybe not as great of a profile, even as Hunter and what Gadsden is to this point. But as you're talking through that, I was just sitting here smiling because I'm thinking, man, we drafted a team that has really solid floor in a lot of ways that you do need in best ball. I think we did it with our early running backs, even in a 0 RB build. We did it with all those targets that I just talked about at receiver and tight end to anchor those positions. And then we have all these really fun shots, even starting at Burden, but the Lemon pick, the Golden pick. And then I think I was smiling because I'm like, dude, if this team wins it with a spike week because of Travis Hunter and Oronde Gadsden in the final, I mean, it's just a perfect team for that. So I'm really pretty stoked about this build. It's a super, super fun representation of what I think is the right way to wrap up all of the best ball knowledge out there and take the right swings.
Yeah, and I loved getting on some picks. I haven't, like I said, I hadn't been talking about Emmett Johnson a lot. I haven't done a ton of Lemon, so I liked getting on some of those guys, especially in a build where it made sense. Gretch mentioned the Longview podcast. You guys got to check that out. New show with him and Jacob Sanderson. I'll link to it. It's on YouTube, obviously podcast feed. I tweeted out over the weekend, maybe 2 weekends ago, my entire podcast feed was just Ben Gretch audio, Establish the Edge, Stealing Bananas, Longview. If you want Ben Gretch in your ears, there is like 50 hours of content out there just within the past couple months.
It's been a busy couple months. I started doing the ETR pod and it went longer this year with Mark and Jack with a 3-man pod. But then whenever I start doing that, people are like, oh, Ben's out of the woodwork of coaching his daughter's softball team all spring. And then so they started inviting me on a bunch of pods and I love doing all of it. So I did a bunch of guest stuff and man, I was podcasting a lot. It made the writing tough. It made I'm excited to be kind of on the back end of that where like this week I didn't have as much on the plate and you reached out and I was like, yeah, I'm open. I'd love to jump on, Pete. That sounds great.
No, and I'm the same way because I just finished the So You Think You Can Tout. Wednesdays were a day in the morning where I'm working on episodes, I'm scripting, I'm recording, and now I'm like, I have all this time. We're going to start doing extra best ball breakfast. Let's draft some more teams here in August. So we're in lockstep here. We'll be I got to reach out to you to schedule. I would love to do a draft with you and Sean and Pat on ship chasing. So we'll get that going for the main event season. And yeah, maybe later in August as well, get you back on, try to get a second bullet in our BBM portfolio together would be awesome.
Love it. Thanks so much for having me on.
Yep. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Like I said, we are going to go double best ball breakfast from here on out. Mondays with the usual lineup, Wednesdays with some friends and other people I want to get to do drafts with. Appreciate everyone hanging out. Make sure you guys support our sponsors. Of course, Ben, did you hear about this? Vassaleros and Sons Coffee now sponsoring best ball breakfast here.
I did not, but tell me about it. They have some great coffee.
It was my guy, Bob Stockel. He's a fan of the show. He used to own and then sold this company, Vassaleros and Sons. He still works with them, and he helped broker a partnership here. So yeah, 25% off, promo code Pete on your first order, free shipping as well. Obviously, check out the solver. People were asking what I was using to display my overlay here during the draft. You can get 20% off that with promo code Pete. And we have ship chasing today at 2 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be going through guys that, if you're heavily exposed to, that you're either going to double down or maybe ditch. And then the inverse, guys we're really underexposed to, like me with Parker Washington. Are you going to cave and capitulate, or are you going to stay strong and continue fading? So that'll be a fun exposure conversation today at 2 p.m. Eastern. Other than that, I think we're good to go. Tune into After Dark and Randomizer tomorrow. That will be a blast, as well as Best Ball Bash. And thanks again to Gretch, to Cooterdoodle, to Alex Cups, the chat. We'll see you guys next time on Best Ball Breakfast.